Good afternoon and welcome to the Premier League final day live here on LFS with me, Kevin Ferris. Thank you very much for joining us for this one this afternoon. 37 games down and just one to go for each of the 20 teams in this league. The title race, relegation battle already sealed, but the race for the top 5 remains the tussle that is yet to be decided. 5 sides head into the day knowing they could end the day with Champions League qualification for next season. Manchester City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa and Nott'm Forest are the sides that are fighting for 3 spots that remain inside the top 5. Liverpool the champions and Arsenal in second already qualified for next season's Champions League, so it makes it more intriguing and entertaining to see what will happen today in that top 5 race. Of course, as tradition, all 10 Premier League games kicking off at 4 o'clock UK time, of course making sure no one has any preset advantage over another. So all 10 games kicking off at the same time in around about 27-28 minutes time. So we will build right up to the games, we'll tell you what each and every result means, what actually each and every fixture is, and we'll also bring you the team news from all 10 stadiums around the Premier League. So lots to look forward to as we head into this final day. And starting off, we're going to tell you what the fixtures are, because that's the most pertinent point of this afternoon. So the fixtures for matchday 38 are as follows. 11th place Bournemouth host already relegated Leicester City at the Vitality Stadium, with the Cherries knowing a top half finish is still possible, with 9th being the highest finishing position for Andoni Iraola's side. A key game in the top 5 race sees 9th place Fulham host Champions League chasing and 3rd place Manchester City, with the Citizens knowing any points should be enough to claim a top 5 finish. We'll keep a very close eye on proceedings at Craven Cottage for you. It's a final home game of the season for already relegated Ipswich as they welcome Graham Potter's West Ham to Portman Road. A meteoric rise in recent seasons for the Tractor Boys will come to an end today, but for West Ham they can climb the table, but only one place, 14th with a win. Excuse me. Next we head to the home of the champions at Anfield, as Liverpool will get their hands on the Premier League trophy shortly after the final whistle. The champions host the newly crowned FA Cup winners Crystal Palace, who have surely had one hell of a party across the last week. It will no doubt be a party atmosphere for both sets of fans at Anfield today. Off to Old Trafford, where 16th place Manchester United will end their season on their worst points finish and position finish in Premier League history, and they host Champions League chasing Aston Villa, who start the day in 6th and need other results to go their way to finish in the top 5. To another very important game and to the northeast, where Champions League chasing and 4th place Newcastle take on David Moyes' Everton, with Newcastle's job clear. Win and you're in. Next we head to St Mary's on the south coast, where already relegated Southampton will host the Premier League runners-up Arsenal, who will finish the season 2nd for the 3rd consecutive season for Mikel Arteta's side. To the other North London club, one that will start the day on a high as they head home to their home stadium. Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham host 8th place chasing Brighton, with the 17-year wait for a trophy for Spurs ended on Wednesday night in that Europa League final against Manchester United. But it is another 17 that will still haunt them as they start the day in 17th place to Spurs. For Brighton, they are in pole position for 8th. If a European spot is handed to that finishing position, avoid defeat and they will finish 8th. To the other side, chasing 8th place, Brentford. They'll be hoping they can have a chance at qualifying for European football for the first time in their history. If they can win at Wolves and Brighton lose at Tottenham, they would finish 8th on goal difference. Brentford head to Molineux to face 14th place Wolves. And finally, you thought we maybe missed it out in the middle of that run. We didn't. Finally, to probably the game with the most on it today, and that is at the City Ground, where of course we will be watching the action where the league's overperformers and surprise package this season, Nottingham Forest, look to claim Champions League football. But they start the day in 7th and needing other results to go their way alongside a win as well. For their opponents Chelsea, they will also need a good result, but starting in 5th for the Blues is an ultimate extra benefit for Enzo Maresca's side, but they still need a win if they want to be completely sure of a top 5 finish. So that's the way it all rings out. That's the roster for today, and don't worry, we will tell you what it all means in a moment. We want to get our first set of team news from our first number of games this afternoon. Then we'll head to the permutations, and then we'll round off with key team news, finishing our team news with, of course, the City Ground between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. Do get involved in the chat, by the way. Do let us know what you're thinking, who you're supporting, what you want to see happen today, who you think will get in the top 5. Do let us know in the chat below as well. We'll run you through the permutations very shortly, but let's bring you to the team news first off. So I will read out both sets of teams in order, of course, an alphabetical order compared to their games, and I'll also read the benches as well, and the starting positions for both teams, because it's important to get a bit of context about where each and every team sits today. As we start, like we did with our roundup of the fixtures, between Bournemouth and Leicester. Bournemouth in 11th, as I said, they can finish as high as 9th today if results go their way and they win. And Leicester in 18th, already relegated, are Leicester. They can claim 28 points is their highest points finish this season. To the teams, starting with Bournemouth. Kepa starts in goal. A back four of Adam Smith, the captain, Ilya Zabarny, Marcus Senesi and Milos Kerkez. Could that be his final game for Bournemouth today? Milos Kerkez. Tyler Adams and David Brooks are in midfield with Justin Kluivert in the 10. Antoine Semenyo off the left, Marcus Tavernier off the right and Evan Nielsen leading the Bournemouth line. On the bench for the Cherries, Dennis, Howson, Araujo, Hill, Soler, Scott, Winterburn, Jebison and Silcott Dewberry. Interestingly, Dean Howson has started all of the very vast majority of Bournemouth's games at centre-back this season, but he is on the bench for the final day, of course, already heading to Real Madrid next season. For Leicester, their final named side before they are relegated, Stolarczyk is in goal, a back four of Justin, Cody, Fass and Christiansen. Conor Cody the captain, by the way. Oliver Skipp and Boubakary Soumare in midfield with Jordan Ayew in the 10, Casey McAteer on the right, Luke Thomas on the left and Patson Daka leading the Leicester line. On the bench for Leicester, Iverson, Okoli, Pereira, Akulo, Golding, Braybrook, Buonanotte, Evans and Monga. Of course, no Jamie Vardy, as he did not want to be involved in that game today. He wanted his final game for Leicester to be at the King Power, and his wishes respected by his manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy. So that's Bournemouth against Leicester, to a game that features a very important European chaser in Manchester City, and they take on 9th placed Fulham. Now, I said to you before, we'll give you the permutations, but basically for Manchester City, they sit in such a good position in third that they probably only need a point at the very least to claim a Champions League spot. But we start with Fulham. Their side is as follows: Bernd Leno in goal, Kenny Tete, Joachim Andersen, Jorge Cuenca and Anthony Robinson in a back four. Tom Kearney the captain, as Sasa Lukic in midfield with Andreas Pereira in the 10. On the right side of the front three is Adama Traore, Harry Wilson on the left and Raul Jimenez leading the line for the Cottagers. Benda, Bassi, King, Sessegnon, Berger, Smith Rowe, Iwobi, Willian and Vinicius all on the Fulham bench. For Manchester City, this is the side they have named in trying to get them Champions League football for next season. Edison starts in goal. Mateus Nunes, Ruben Dias the captain, Manuel Akanji and Josko Vardiol in defence. Nico Gonzalez is alongside Ilkay Gundogan in midfield, Omar Marmoush in the 10, Bernardo Silva on the right, Jeremy Doku on the left and Erling Haaland leading the line. For the City bench, Kevin De Bruyne is on the bench today alongside Stefan Ortega, Nathan Ake, Rico Lewis, Rodri Savinho, Claudio Echeverri, Nico O'Reilly and Phil Foden. Can Manchester City get Champions League? It would be very unlikely to finish outside the top 5, but they can finish as low as 6th, City, but we'll get to the full details on that very shortly for you. So that's Fulham against Manchester City, the team news there. We'll head to Portman Road now to get the team news from there, and we start with Ipswich as Palmer starts in goal, Twanzebe, O'Shea, Greaves and Davis in the back four. Midfield is Morsey, Kayusti and Chaplin, with Hutchinson, Broadhead and Hurst leading the line in that front three. On the bench for Kieran McKenna's side in their final Premier League game before they are relegated, they start with Walton, Wolfend and Burgess, Boniface, Luongo and Taylor, Clark, Smodics and Liam Delap. Could Liam Delap be heading to a Premier League side for next season? We will see. He's been hot favourite to be moving elsewhere for next season as the centre forward, and he's on the bench for Ipswich today. For West Ham, as I said, they can only move up to 14th. They start the day in 15th, but a win could have them up a place. Fabianski starts in goal, back five of Wan-Bissaka, Tadibo, Kilman, Mavropanos and Scarles. In midfield, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse and Soucek, with a front two of Jared Bowen, the captain, and Nicholas Fulkrug. On the bench for Graham Potter's side, Areola, Cresswell, Soufal, Paqueta, Kudus, Guillermo, Rodriguez, Irving and Ings. For West Ham United, 2 more games to go to get team news. for you. Next, we're going to head to the home of the champions, Liverpool against Crystal Palace, for you. And we'll get team news from there for now. We start with the champions, Liverpool. Alisson is in goal. Conor Bradley starts at right back. Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk, the captain, and Andy Robertson in defence. Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai are in midfield alongside Curtis Jones, with a front three of Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, and Mo Salah looking to break records. Of course, the leading Golden Boot. The player leading the Golden Boot race is Salah, and the assist race. There is going to need to be some incredible performance from some of his opponents today if they're to overthrow them on those sorts of stats. But we'll see what Mo Salah can produce. He is still on to break that Premier League record, by the way. If he gets a goal or an assist, he will equal it. But if he gets both or more than one of each, he will break that record. Mo Salah. Completely forgot there. On the bench for Liverpool today, the champions: Kelleher, Gomez, Quansah, Alexander-Arnold, Tsimikas, Elliott, Endo, Nunez, and Jota. No Alexis McAllister because he was told he's not going to play for the rest of the season for Liverpool. For Crystal Palace, the new FA Cup winners, they head to Anfield, naming a side such as this. Dean Henderson, who captains the side, is in goal. A back five of Daniel Munoz, Jefferson Lerma, Maxence Lacroix, Chris Richards, and Tyreek Mitchell. In midfield is Daichi Kamada and Will Hughes, with a front three of Ismail Assar, Abere Eza, and Jean-Philippe Mateta. For Crystal Palace on the bench today, a bit of a shorter bench for Palace today, a couple of injuries and a couple of players not available to them. Turner, Ward, Kapora, Deveni, Essa, and Nketiah, and Francis. Only 7 on the Palace bench today. No Mark Gurhey, no Czech Doucouré, no Adam Wharton either for Crystal Palace. But I'm sure they've had an incredible week at Crystal Palace. It will be a party atmosphere expected at Anfield. Right, our final team news for our first set here this afternoon. We head to Old Trafford. As I said, 16th place Manchester United. They start with Altay Bayindir in goal. A back five of Nusir Mazraoui, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Aidan Heaven, and Patrick Dorgu. Midfield is Casemiro alongside Bruno Fernandes, the captain, with a front three of Amad Diallo, Mason Mount, and Rasmus Højlund. The United bench is as follows: Heaton, Dallo, Evans, Fredriksson, Mainu, Ugarte, Collier, Eriksson, and Obi Martin. For Aston Villa, they chase Champions League. They have a big job on their hands today if they can do it at Old Trafford. Many have this season, so you wouldn't bet against them. We will see. Emi Martinez starts in goal. What could be his final game for Aston Villa? A back four of Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Pau Torres, and Ian Matson in defence. In midfield is Boubacar Kamara, Amadou Onana, and Marco Asensio in the 10. A front three of Morgan Rogers, John McGinn the captain, and leading the line, Ollie Watkins. On the bench for the villains, Olsen, Mings, Digne, Garcia, Barkley, Tielemans, Ramsey, Bailey, and Donyell Malen. So that's our first set of team news this afternoon. From 5 of the 10 games on the final day, we'll get the other 5 games, including our game here at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest against Chelsea, a little later on. But we need to move quickly because 15 minutes until kickoff on this Premier League final day. All 10 games live. 5 teams head into today knowing they could finish in the top 5 with 3 spots left available. Let's tell you how it all can shake out and how it can all finish. Let's show you what the table looks at then. The top 7 is like this as we start get ready for the final day action. So here we go. Of course, you'll be wondering, who needs what? What way is it going to shake out? Well, if everybody gets a positive result, then it could stay as it is. If all the teams draw, that would be the only case in which everybody would stay in the same positions because Chelsea play Nottingham Forest, but that's not to worry. Anyway, starting the day in the top 5, Liverpool and Arsenal already confirmed at Champions League. Manchester City could finish second, but they would need a goal difference madness in that one, and Arsenal to lose at Southampton. But Man City win, and they're in 100%. For Manchester City. Newcastle in 4th on 66, Chelsea on 66, Villa on 66, and Nottingham Forest on 65. Just 1 point separates 4th to 7th. 4 places separated by 1 point, and 5 places separated by just 3 points. So all within reach for each and every team. The only thing is Nottingham Forest can't finish higher than 4th because of their goal difference, but that is the way that shakes out. Right, let's bring you right up to date with what it means for each team. What's their percentage chance, according to Opta, of finishing in the top 5, and what results do they need to get into the top 5, and what results do they need not to happen to finish in the top 5. So for Manchester City, win or draw, and they would secure a top 5 finish more than likely. A win for Manchester City would seal 3rd place no matter what, so they wouldn't be able to be overtaken if they win today. They would finish 3rd. A draw would only not be enough if Aston Villa beat Man United by 17 goals. That's why I mean, if City draw, they're all but there, because look at that goal difference. That's nuts. 17 goals Villa would need to beat Manchester United by. We had to put it down because we had to give you a reason. And City can finish as low as 6th today, so they can finish outside the top 5. But a defeat and other results would see that happen. Only a defeat and other results would see that happen this afternoon. But they have a 96.9% chance for Manchester City to finish in the Champions League, and it doesn't go any worse for them. It goes very well, because Fulham away is a much happy hunting ground for Manchester City. They've won on 14 consecutive visits to Fulham and Craven Cottage, so they will be very confident of getting something of the same result today. To Newcastle, they have a little less of a chance, 82.7, but still massively in their favour. A bit more permutations for them. A win would confirm a top 5 place against Everton at home, but that assumes that Aston Villa don't pull off goal swing of the century, of course, as is the case. A draw would be enough for Newcastle if Aston Villa failed to beat Manchester United, or Chelsea draw with Nottingham Forest. A draw would be enough in that case. A draw wouldn't be enough for Newcastle if Villa win and Chelsea or Nottingham Forest also win. They would need both of those to happen for a draw not to be enough. And a loss would mean Newcastle would need Villa to lose at Man United as they drop below Chelsea or Forest regardless of that result. So a loss for Newcastle would mean they will be keeping a very keen eye on the game at Old Trafford. But they will, as I say, have a good record and would have a good belief that they can get it done today, Newcastle. To our next battler in 5th place is Chelsea, and that is a key game today, of course, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. They have a 57.4% chance, Chelsea, of finishing in the top 5, so it's not as nailed on as they probably would have liked. It's more nailed on for the two above them, of course, but Chelsea level on points with Aston Villa below them. But let's see what their permutations are today as they head to Nottingham Forest to Chelsea. A win confirms the top 5 finish for Chelsea, barring an Aston Villa miracle goal swing, of course, that goes without saying, but a win would all but be enough. A draw would be enough if Aston Villa failed to win for Chelsea, or Newcastle lose. Otherwise, a draw would not be enough. So if, for example, Aston Villa win, a draw wouldn't be enough for Chelsea, or if Newcastle get anything, then a draw wouldn't be enough. That's the way it would stand. A loss would almost certainly rule out top 5 for Chelsea, but only if Newcastle were to lose by 3 more goals than Chelsea would that change, of course. So that's a permutation we don't need to worry about, unless we do need to worry about it, but we don't at the moment. For Aston Villa then, they have, as I say, they start outside the top 5. They start the day in 6th, so theirs is a little bit more tricky. But a 42.6% chance is still a very good opportunity for Aston Villa. A win would get top 5 for Villa, but they need results elsewhere to help them. That is, if either Newcastle or Chelsea fail to win today, Villa's win would be enough. So, for example, if Nottingham Forest drew with Chelsea, and Villa win, Villa would get top 5. But if Manchester City lose and Villa win, then they would also get top 5 Villa, depending on certain results going their way as well. In the event of a draw for Aston Villa, they would need Newcastle to lose to Everton, no matter the result between Forest and Chelsea, because they play each other, and a defeat would not be enough. Loss at Old Trafford for Aston Villa, and they will not have any chance of a top 5 finish. For Nottingham Forest, it is even more difficult than that, than Aston Villa. They host Chelsea this afternoon with a 20.4% chance, so a 1 in 5 chance for getting Champions League football today, Nottingham Forest. A win would be enough to secure top 5 if either Newcastle or Aston Villa fail to win. So if either Newcastle or Villa draw or lose, then that would be enough for Nottingham Forest as long as they win. But if Man City lose by a 13-goal swing, but that's not going to happen. But we have to put it down for facts. But if Newcastle or Villa draw or lose, only one of them, draw or lose, a win would be enough to secure top 5 for Nottingham Forest. A draw would be only enough if Aston Villa lose and Newcastle lose to Everton by at least 10 goals. A draw would guarantee European or Europa League football, though, if Aston Villa lose Nottingham Forest, and a defeat, as I said, would not be enough. So there is realistic chance for all 5 teams to finish in the top 5. There is that opportunity heading into the final day, but nothing is sealed. We are running tight on time, so we need to move quickly. But let's talk quickly about the top 8. So this is how top 8. 8th could be a European place. Let's just tell you that. But these 2 scenarios would need to happen. Either one of these 2 scenarios, of course. Chelsea win the Conference League, so we'll not know that till Wednesday, but they finish 7th. Or, if Chelsea finish 6th, win the Conference League, and Newcastle finish 7th. Both of those scenarios can happen, and if in only the case of those 2 scenarios would 8th be a Conference League place, and you can see it laid out in front of you why that would be the case. We'll go over that a little later on as well, because we need to move quickly. Simple enough for these 2 sides. Brighton win, or even a point for Brighton away at Tottenham would be enough. For Brentford, they need to win against Wolves and hope Brighton lose to Tottenham, and they would secure 8th on goal difference. But that is on the assumption that 8th would be a European place, which we do not know at this current moment in time. But of course, we will let you know as the day goes on, because we are hot-footing it towards kick-off, and we need to get team news from our 2 other European games that we're keeping an eye on, or the games involving European sides, and as well, we need to get the team news here from the City Ground as well. But let's quickly go to Newcastle-Everton for the team news first. Newcastle start the day in 4th, knowing that a win would be enough for them today against Everton. They start with Nick Pope in goal. They've gone for an interesting back 3 scenario that we saw recently from Newcastle. Jacob Murphy in the wing-back position, Scher, Botman and Byrne in the back 3, with Livramento in the other wing-back position, Guimaraes and Tonali in midfield, with a front 3 of Barnes, Gordon and Isak. On the bench for Eddie Howe's team, Dubravka, Trippier, Lascelles, Kraft, Willock, Longstaff, Miley, Wilson and Osula. For Everton, they head to St James's Park, knowing they cannot move out of their position. They are 13th and they are locked in 13th, no matter what happens today, Everton. They start with Jordan Pickford, the captain, in goal. Back 4 of Young, Keane, O'Brien and Mikalenko. In midfield is James Garner alongside Idrissa Gueye, with Carlos Alcaraz further forward. And a front 3 of Jack Harrison, Iliman Ndiaye and Beto. On the bench for David Moyes' side, Virginia, Begovic, Patterson, Welch, McNeil, Doucouré, Calvert-Lewin, Broja and Chermiti. So, Newcastle against Everton at St James's. We will be back in just a moment, because we will get team news from the City Ground, where Nottingham Forest host Chelsea, both sides chasing Champions League. Who will get there? It is unlikely that both could get there, but it's never out of the question. We'll find out when we come back. Welcome back to the Premier League final day live here this afternoon. We are on our way to having an incredible end to the season. 10 games live, kicking off in about 3 minutes' time. So do not worry. We will bring you up to date from all the games, goals as they go in, any action from around the grounds, and live table updates. certainly involving those top 5 teams. Who will finish where? We will wait and see. I've just seen an incredible thing happen at Anfield. It was a joke that was going around that Palace would give Liverpool a guard of honour and then they would return the favour. That has just happened, which is quite class and quite exciting to watch. I have Liverpool Palace on one screen. I've got Nottingham Forest Chelsea on another. We are ready to go for the Premier League final day. Let's get you the team news from the City grounds. Starting with the home side, Nottingham Forest. They start with Matt Sells in goal. A back 4 of Ola Aina, Nikola Milenkovic, Murillo and Nico Williams in defence. In midfield, a bit more solid for Nuno Espirito Santo, Ibrahim Sangari, Nicolas Dominguez and Elliot Anderson in the midfield 3. Morgan Gibbs-White, the captain, is further forward in that 10 role, sitting behind a front 2 of Anthony Elanga and Chris Wood. On the Forest bench today, some key important team news. Miguel, Morato, Toffolo, Bolly, Yates, Danilo, Silva and Sosa all on the bench. But Callum Hudson-Odoi joins them. And Taiwo Awoniyi is here, but he's not in the team, of course. And it's good to see him back after his hospitalisation. For Chelsea, they start the day knowing a win should be enough for them. But it wouldn't be guaranteed even at that point. They start with Robert Sanchez in goal. A back 4 of Reece James, the captain, Tosin, Levi Colwill and Marco Correa in defence. In midfield, Moises Caicedo was alongside Enzo Fernandez, with Cole Palmer in the 10, and a front 3 of Noni Madueke, Jadon Sancho and Pedro Neto. On the bench for the Blues today, Jorgensen, Achiampong, Badiashile, Chalobah, Gusto, Lavia, Dewsbury Hall, George and Mark Gui. It is two sides battling for the top 5. Champions League nights await, but who will be getting him? Will it be the City Ground or will it be Stamford Bridge? Or who else will be getting those top 5 places? We will find out as the Premier League final day gets underway in less than 2 minutes' time. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Premier League final day live here at LFS. It's great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed the programme so far. All the team news, all the permutations, what can happen today. That's what we love about football. It is all up in the air, and it is in the hands of the 10 sets of 11 players all taking to the field today to see who they will get and where they will finish next for this season and qualification for next season. It's happy scenes at Anfield as You'll Never Walk Alone sung around for the champions as they take on the FA Cup winners Crystal Palace. We'll keep an eye on that one. We'll also keep an eye on the games around the grounds for Europe and some goals going in the other games that don't massively concern us. But our focus, our sole focus today, our key focus is Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Two sides knowing that a result elsewhere could impact where they finish, but this is where it matters most. Who will stand up and be counted on the day they need to stand up the most and be counted the most in the biggest and most important moments? It's going to be a big week for Chelsea. They could get Champions League and win a cup in the space of 3 days. But for Nottingham Forest, Europe already confirmed for the first time in 30 years. But they want to go further than that. They want Champions League. They've been chasing it all season. Quite unexpectedly, let's be honest. But that's what football is all about. That's why we love it. You never know where the season's going to take you. But Forest want to have those Champions League nights at the City Ground. A side that have won the European Cup back-to-back in the 1980s. And they want to be back where they think they belong. And we'll see if they can do it today. They will need, of course, help from other stadiums and other results to go their way if that is to be the case. But it is going to be some atmosphere, some feel across the City Ground and all of our games today as we get the final day underway from around the grounds. And we are going to take a knee in saying there is no room for discrimination in football or the wider world. A message that is rightfully reiterated on this day of all days as we get underway in the final day here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Two sides battling for the top 5. But surely only one can get that place. There's already a party atmosphere at Anfield as well. The balloons already on the field for those two sides. But we will keep you right up to date today on what happens. Goals, when they go in, where they go in, and what that means for each and every team involved. Great to have you with us for this one this afternoon. Happy final day of the season, says Gary. Gives a Job says, come on Forest. Ego Chip says, I want all the teams above Man City to win and Man City to lose. Forest still did really well to get European football of any flavour, though. Indeed, they did. Yeah, and the permutations are busy indeed. And Ego Chip says, Community Shield warm-up a match at Anfield. It is. Community Shield will be at the start of August. Liverpool and Palace, of course, the league winners and the FA Cup winners. But let's head back here to the City ground as Chelsea try and break down the left. But Cole Palmer nicely seen away by Ola Aina, who gets the ball clear, but only as far as Jadon Sancho, who's seen out by Nicolas Dominguez. Well, I expect it to be one of those games today between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. Whoever gets the first goal will be massive for these two football clubs, in good ways and in bad ways as well, as Palmer breaks towards the box, gets a deflection off a Forest player, and it will be a corner for Chelsea inside the first 2 minutes here at the City grounds. They've taken it short through Neto. Palmer will deliver with his left foot, back post, headed away by Chris Wood, who was helping out defensively. And Moises Caicedo picks it up again for Chelsea. Flicked over the top, but too much for anyone in blue to chase, and Dominguez will usher that one out for a goal kick. Nice idea by Moises Caicedo, but it just didn't work off that time. Well, these two in contrasting form coming into this one. Forest with just one win in their last 4 games. Chelsea 1 defeat in their last 8 league games. So they certainly couldn't come into it in more different form. That only win for Forest in the last 4 came away at West Ham last weekend when they knew it was win or bust, really. If they'd have lost last week, it would have been over. But a win kept them in the race to the final day. And that's the chance they want, and the chance I'm sure they will be desperate to take. As Liverpool applying pressure down the right there, and they will win a corner on that right-hand side for the champions. Jurgen Klopp in attendance, amongst a lot of Liverpool dignitaries, and of course the trophy lift will be done at Anfield a little later on after the final whistle. Just to confirm for you though, we will follow every game, and once each game is complete we will recap what happens, what it means for the table, and then we'll have a full depth reaction show to everything that's happened, final positions, who gets Champions League, all of that. That's tomorrow. And we will also do my review of my pre-season predictions as well tomorrow on a reaction show to the season. For all those Liverpool fans who are watching out there, we will let you enjoy the trophy lift and the lap of honour at Anfield separately. We will not have that coverage live here at LFS because that is a moment you'll want to share with family and friends, I am sure. I certainly know I am sure on that front. And we will see that happen a little later on. As Forest get a break on here, they're through. It's Morgan Gibbs-White. He's got Alanga with him. Gibbs-White brought down. Alanga's still got it. Referee said no foul, but we play on for Forest. Alanga. Dominguez back to Anthony Alanga. You want to felt the crowd lift. The sound elevated massively when Forest got a through ball there. Alanga through to Dominguez, who cuts it back. And that's hooked away by Levi Colwell. But that was better from Nottingham Forest. Good pressure. Again, it was good work from Gibbs-White. He worked it well. And as he got towards the box, he kind of collided with Reece James. And no more. It's not a penalty. Forest will get a long throw. They're taking it short now. Ola Aina. Sangari to Alanga at the byline. And he's seen out for a corner by Noni Madueke. And that's got the crowd going inside the City ground. Remember for you, a win for Forest would be enough if either Newcastle or Villa failed to win. So if they take the lead here, Forest, they would jump into the top 5 as it stands. That's the way it would be. So they have a corner, right-hand side. Bodies in the box amongst the 2 centre-backs for Forest. Alanga to deliver, a bit low. Played away at the front post. That was a poor corner. And Cole Palmer seen it away for a throw-in. Alanga there, he's pretty... certainly knows himself he could have delivered that with a bit more quality. On that occasion, just fix my camera for you so that I'm well in shot. Still awaiting our first goal on the final day. 5 minutes in. Forest with a throw-in on the right-hand side here. We will have you a visual of the live table, by the way. Don't worry about that if anything changes. Throw in by Ola Aina. Alanga takes it. Lays it off to his left foot. Whips it into the box. Cucurella's header. Clears it away, and Sancho trying to get Chelsea forward, but Forest retrieve it well through Aina. Aina on the turn. He's broken into space here. Ola Aina. He's still going. Oh! Well closed out by Moises Caicedo. As Murillo intercepts well. Gibbs White now. Lovely touch on the turn. A little bit loose in the second one. And a tussle in the end with Moises Caicedo. Sees a foul given to Chelsea. Loving the passion from Nottingham Forest there. Full of the passion in their challenges and in the football so far from the home side. And egged on by the crowd in every given opportunity. A reminder for you, we will have, as I say, the reaction show tomorrow and updates from everywhere this afternoon, so you'll not miss a thing. Goals, action, anything that we can bring you, as it is set to be a great final day. And 4 games that will have incredible amounts of pressure on them. Here at the City Ground, at Craven Cottage, at Old Trafford, and at St James's Park. Those are the 4 games that are so important for the top 5 race. And of course, Brighton and Brentford in action as well. We'll see what they do for 8th, if 8th does become a European place as well. Here is a move for Enzo Fernandez for Chelsea, but he's massively overhit that ball on the switch to Sancho, and it goes out for a Nottingham Forest throw down this right hand side for Forest. It's a nice ball wide from Zangari, and Nico Williams trying to get the afterburners on down the left. Cuts it back inside to Gibbs White. Nice Zangari, who takes a good first touch away from his marker. And that was nice movement from Forest. Murillo. To Elliot Anderson, back to Murillo. He's fit enough today. It was a bit of a concern whether he would be fit enough for this afternoon's action, but he is indeed. I'm sure he wouldn't want to miss it for a thing this afternoon, would Murillo. Right, here's Nicolas Dominguez. We have our first goal of the afternoon, and we can tell you where it's come, and I can have a look and see where it's come, because it's come at Anfield, and the champions are behind. But here come Forest. Here's a chance. Ola Aina across, and it's very well blocked by Levi Colwell. Forest are making good runs, good actions, and getting into good areas. And that was nicely worked. It was Ola Aina on that underlapping run in the inside. It was a nice ball through by Nicolas Dominguez, and he squared it across Aina. And it was well defended by Levi Colwell. As we will update you on the scoreline from Anfield very shortly. But really overall, that won't mean a massive deal. Cross in by Alanga. Up in the air by Cucurella from the header. Williams keeps it alive. It's bouncing around and cleared away. As Elliot Anderson got a little touch, but it's nicked away from him, and Chelsea want a break now with Pedro Neto. Bodies charging forward for the Blues. Neto onto his left, a bit of deflection on the cross, and cleared away by Murillo. There we go. So already a goal at Anfield. Crystal Palace leading at Liverpool. The goal scorer there, Ismail Assar. He scored against Liverpool before, many's a time. Ismail Assar haunted them before. But today, there will be no haunting for Liverpool. It will be just pure celebration, I'm sure, for the champions, who trail by a goal to 0. Keeping an eye on that Man United Villa game as well. Those are the 3 games that are on TV here in the UK. Some confusion over why Newcastle's game and Man City's game weren't on TV today, because they still have massive permutations on them. But that is something that we do not know why. But the 3 games at the moment on the final day that we have, and we'll keep you right up to date with all of them, no matter what. The throw in for Forest down this left side. 10 minutes gone. Nottingham Forest have looked bright on the move, but Chelsea have also looked a threat on the counter-attack, because that switch ball out for Aina. Space here. Cucurella is in a tussle. Loses that battle. Does Mark Cucurella, and it will be a Nottingham Forest throw. Again, it's interesting. Forest have played a lot of those balls into space and players running onto those. And on occasion, Forest have made the benefit of those little balls into space rather than to a man. And they have another throw-in opportunity. Ola Aina again. He's lined up for the 2 long throws before, but he's gone short, and he's gone short again. Alanga steps onto his left, whips it round the back, but too high for Nikola Milenkovic in there to get anywhere near. So a goal kick to Chelsea. We certainly do have a goal, Ego Chip, at Anfield. Liverpool trailing by a goal to nil to Crystal Palace. Ismail Assar with a goal. As I've reiterated, I'll just show you the full set of fixtures. That's where we are and where we stand at the moment. Just the 1 goal from our 10 games. And well, of course, we'll show you the live table as and when it updates and changes. But as it stands, it will be as you were from the start of the day to where we are now. This is the top 10 as it stands. So Nottingham Forest would stay in 7th and Chelsea would stay in 5th as it stands, because all 5 teams in that race for the top 5 are drawing at 0-0 at the moment. So no moves, no changes, no adjustments to be made just yet. Here is Noni Madueke breaking away from Nico Williams, getting the ball towards Neto, who lays it off, and the ball in towards Jadon Sancho. Was just a little overhit, and it goes sailing through for a throw to Forest on the far side. But that was a nice idea. Again, Enzo Fernandez with that cross into the box, and Sancho was in the right area. The ball was just a little bit overhit towards the Chelsea man. Well, it goes without saying, what a season Nottingham Forest have had. Absolutely sensational. To be fighting relegation this time last season to now this season, knowing European football is confirmed and a chance on the final day, if things go your way, to get Champions League football at the City Ground is just quite incredible. Villa are in a move there at Old Trafford, but it's well defended by Man United there. Very keen eye on that game. I think whoever gets the first goal in the top 5 race today will be massive, because I think it will set off fan bases around the stadiums. You know, if Nottingham Forest score first, for example, it would set off nerves from everywhere else. And if Chelsea score first, it might set off nerves here, because here come Chelsea now. And here's a chance! And the shot charged down from Noni Madueke at the edge of the box. Falls to Sancho. And has to turn back to Marco Correa in this Chelsea defence now. Chelsea break forward. Tosin dispossessed a bit cheaply there, as Gibbs White tries to send one for Alanga to chase him behind. But nicely dealt with by Colwell, and Robert Sanchez there, a little under pressure. Puts it straight out of play for a throw. Looked like Chelsea had that all under control until their goalkeeper got on the end of it and decided he was going to put it out for a throw. Elliot Anderson. Nico Williams down the left side for Forest. Goes for the right-footed cross into the box. Dominguez keeps it alive, and looping in the air, it caught the hands of Robert Sanchez in the Chelsea goal. That was again a nice move from Nottingham Forest. They're getting into the right areas at the right time and moving nicely. Dominguez. Williams. Right, Elliot Anderson. It's actually interesting to see Nuno make a little bit of a tweak in the Forest team today, in the Forest setup. A more solid 3 in the midfield today, and a front 2 of Alanga and Wood is quite intriguing. Very interesting. Maybe one making the late runs and one kind of pinning the defence. Now, we have a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to tell you about. Another game that doesn't really mean nothing for our top 5 race, but it is important for Spurs. They will not want to finish 17th today, and that would be a realistic possibility if they lose. But it could be important for the top 8 race, because if Brighton lose and Brentford win, then 8th will be Brentford's. Aina with delivery for Forest, but Wood was held and stopped, and Robert Sanchez can claim. So, Tottenham have taken the lead there against Brighton, which is crucial. Dominic Solanke from the penalty spot. That means Brighton are losing, which means if Brentford now take the lead, then they would go above Brighton in the table into 8th place. But that would be the only way in which Brentford would go above Brighton today if Brentford were to win and Brighton were to lose. Confirm that for you then. Tottenham 1 up against Brighton, the new Europa League winners, who already have Champions League football for next season, to Tottenham after winning the Europa League against Man United on Wednesday nights. And Dominic Solanke from the penalty spot giving them the lead. The champions battling back against Crystal Palace since going 1-0 down in our first goal of the afternoon. The champions still without a shot, but a lot of the possession for Arne Slot's side, but still Crystal Palace lead by a goal to 0. We can show you what the top 8 looks like. The 8th and 9th positions. So Brighton, as it stands, losing. Brentford are drawing, so it would keep it as it is. But if Brentford go to take the lead against Wolves, then Brentford would leapfrog Brighton in the table up to 8th. That's nicely won back by Nicolas Dominguez off Pedro Neto there, who was looking for a foul, but he wasn't given one. Jonathan says, come on Forest, be nice to see them in Champions League next season. It very much would be, but they remember, Forest don't just need to win, they need other results to go their way. A win and other teams dropping points would be enough. If either Newcastle or Villa fail to win, then top 5 would be Nottingham Forest's. They have to win, of course, as well. On top of that, to Forest. Again, as I say, you know, we talk about pressure on the final day and what pressure can do to teams. I can tell you that in a moment, because there's a twist in the top 8 race in a moment for 8th place. Forest have started really strongly here. I got to be honest, they've started with a little bit more envision in them and that determination. They don't look overset by nerves, and some would argue, you know, you could be nervous going into the final day with knowing you have to win no matter what, basically. I'll tell you if you have to win no matter what in a moment, because there is a twist in the tail at Molineux. I'll tell you that in a moment after this free kick for Nottingham Forest. Elliot Anderson is over it. Right-footed. Lifting it deep towards the box. Brought down by Murillo at the back post, but he's offside from that position. So therefore, that will be called a Chelsea free kick. I can tell you there's been a goal at Molineux, and it's a perfect setup. Brighton losing, Brentford are now winning. So they take the lead, and they jump up to 8th. Brian Mbeumo with the goal for Brentford, leading Wolves at Molineux. So that means that as it stands, Brentford would be getting a top 8 place. As it stands, this is the way it would look for Brentford. They would leapfrog Brighton and claim 8th with a win and a Brighton loss. That is what's happening, and Brentford are into the top 8 as it stands. Brian Mbeumo giving them a goal at Wolves. So they've swapped positions, Brighton and Brentford now. Here's Elanga. As Forest want to swap positions with teams above them. Take the lead at the minute, and they would do that. Elanga chipping it towards the box, towards Wood, cleared away. And there's going to be another offside flag up there against Nottingham Forest. Every time there's an offside, there seems to be a goal, because we have our first goal at Craven Cottage, and our first goal in this race for the top 5 concerning all of these teams, and it has gone the way of 3rd placed Manchester City. They take the lead. They're not looking to throw this away. Ilkay Gundogan with the goal for Manchester City. A win for City would mean they get top 5 no matter what, and they would finish 3rd no matter what, City, with a win. Ilkay Gundogan giving Manchester City the lead. They have won 14 consecutive games at Craven Cottage, have City, and they're 1 up today. So positions don't change in the table. City stay 3rd, they go more points in 3rd. As you can see in a moment, it hasn't quite updated yet on that screen, but you can see in a moment, if I get the reset on that. There we are. So City up to 71 points now, just behind Arsenal on 72. But they would secure 3rd place no matter what happens elsewhere with a win to Manchester City. So that's the way it stands there. So City leading. There, a recap on all the goals we've seen. So Manchester City 1 up away at Fulham. Liverpool 1-0 down at home to Crystal Palace, the champions there. Tottenham 1 up against Brighton, which means Brighton dropped to 9th because Brentford are now winning away at Wolves by 1-0. There, those are the 4 games which have goals in them so far. As we are 22 or so minutes into the final day action here on the final day. Milenkovic. Aina. Down the right to Elanga. He has space to break forward here, Anthony Elanga. He's got into space. He tried to roll it through for Wood. Cleared away, but only as far as Aina from Chelsea. And keeping that pressure on the Chelsea defence are Nottingham Forest. Having more of the possession so far, the home side. Here's Gibbs White from deep, trying to find Chris Wood again. Cleared away by Chelsea, but the second ball won by Elliot Anderson. Out wide to Elanga now. Elanga with a cross in, bobbling around. Again, it's a bit of head tennis for Chelsea to clear it. And Cole Palmer doesn't clear it well enough. Elanga picks up Aina's delivery. A bit of a deflection towards Chris Wood. And the header cleared away by Levi Colwell. But Chelsea clamouring to get it away. And they're hanging on at the moment, are Chelsea, to keeping it at 0-0. Because Forest are really trying to take grip of this and trying to find that opening goal. Again, Chelsea look nervous. They have a corner to defend now, do the visitors. Although there is a stoppage here for the moment. Enzo Fernandez is down in the box. Should be okay, though. Enzo Fernandez just gets some fluids. He should be okay. Well, Nottingham Forest haven't won at home since the 1st of April against Manchester United in a 1-0 win. But for Chelsea, they haven't won. Have won just 1 away league win in the last 10 away games since the 4-3 win away at Tottenham in December, and a 2-1 win against Fulham. Was that only win in their last 10 away from home? Reece James was down on the ground. Maybe an intricate, little battle with Ibrahim Sangare. I'll see it again. Yeah, they kind of tussle with each other, and then James goes to ground, but there's nothing in that. The referee will allow Forest to retake the corner after he sorted out that little issue. So another Forest corner will be retaken here. Anthony Elanga over it again. A bit of wind coming into play for the moment. Right-footed delivery. Elanga's cross and headed away by a Chelsea player who will get the free kick as he was pushed to the ground. The Chelsea defender there. I believe it's Tosin. And he was grounded by Nikola Milenkovic. Yeah, it was Tosin. He got his head to it, did the Chelsea centre-back. And it was Milenkovic that committed the foul. So a free kick to Chelsea. Pressure on both sides today, as I said. As Elliot Anderson wins it back high up the field. No foul, said the referee there. Chelsea were waiting for a whistle. Didn't come. Gibbs White. Back to Aina, but lots of bodies pushing up the field for Forest again. And quite a lot of bodies back for Chelsea at this moment in time. That's a nice ball by Dominguez. Through the lines to Alanga. Back to try and find Dominguez. Nicely stepped in by Gibbs-White there to keep it alive. And they're trying to keep it down the channel to Forest, but Gibbs-White's ball just a little out of play. Throw in to Chelsea. But again, there's some very good signs there for Nottingham Forest, where they're getting some slight narrow differences on Chelsea and a little bit of a benefit as Luis Diaz hits a shot just wide there for Liverpool, trying to find an equaliser. The champions at Anfield, no wins in their last 3 since they were confirmed champions, Liverpool, but who cares, is what the point they will make, because they are the champions and they will get their trophy after the final whistle at Anfield. Right, not a mountain of goals so far across our games. 4 goals from the 10 games so far in the first 26 minutes or so. 2 of them quite crucial in terms of who finishes 8th. Of course, Brentford winning away at Wolves and Brighton losing away at Tottenham means Brentford leapfrog Brighton up to 8th. Now that's a theoretical European place. There's no guarantees. It would only be 8th if Chelsea win the Conference League and then other situations go their way as well. As Palmer with a ball fizzed towards the box. Nicely cleared by Forest as Caicedo tries to apply the pressure again with the recycling of the ball. Out wide to Madueke. His body's in front of him and pushed back again are Chelsea. Tosin. Cucurella further central. The ball comes back to Colwell. Out wide it goes to Palmer. Cole Palmer. Trying to find something. Not much room to manoeuvre into. It was nice work from Reece James though. Round the corner to Caicedo. Now down the right. It comes with Madueke. Only 1 shot so far in the game. That came from Chelsea. Nothing to show for it really for either side so far in this one. Still 0-0. And a reminder for you, a 0-0 draw, if everything stays the same around the grounds, would be enough to keep Chelsea in the top 5. So a draw wouldn't be the end of the world for Chelsea. It would be for Forest, because they wouldn't be able to go anywhere but 7th with a draw. That would be the case for Nottingham Forest. That is if everybody else is drawing. But that's where we stand, as Murillo there stepping in and committing a foul on Enzo Fernandez around about the edge of the box. This is a chance for Chelsea in a decent area, as we have a goal at the Vitality Stadium as well to tell you about. We'll not hurry ourselves to that one, but we will tell you in a moment. As Liverpool have just come close again to equalising, so the champions pushing Crystal Palace. Chelsea have a chance here at the City Ground. A free kick around about the edge of the box to the right hand side of the goal. A chance to maybe deliver into the box for Chelsea here. 6 in blue in the middle. James and Fernandez over it. It's Reece James right footed. Headed away by Forest and Sangari. But not kept alive by Forest as they give it away cheaply in the middle. Caicedo to Jadon Sancho now. Down the left channel, finding Madueke. Back inside to Sancho. Tracked all the way. It's good pressing from Forest as Caicedo gets it back. And he turns back to Tosin for Chelsea. Forest again, 3 for 3 here in this press. And they've squeezed away through it to Chelsea. Now Neto laying it off to Madueke. Gives it out wide. The ball into the box. And Neto's efforts is over the bar. The first real glimpse of goal for either side today. And Pedro Neto absolutely miscues it. Again, they break past that Forest press to Chelsea. They've got the man advantage down that right side. And they get the ball out wide. They whip it back in. Beautifully by Cole Palmer. Right-footed round Nico Williams, round Murillo. And Pedro Neto is there. And he toe pokes it over the bar and wide. What an opportunity for Chelsea. And it couldn't be taken. Goal kick. As I say, that was the first real glimpse of goal for either side this afternoon. And they couldn't make it work. That was a nice hold up by Chris Wood there for Nottingham Forest. Nice ball by Anderson down the left side here for Nico Williams, who clips it towards the box, cleared away. Not very far as Wood keeps it alive, and now Anderson's delivery might go for goal. Whoa, not too far away, Elliot Anderson. That might not have been on for him, but it certainly didn't put his mind off taking that effort. Elliot Anderson on that occasion. Again, it was nicely worked. It was Wood that kept the pressure on. He laid it off to Anderson. And whether he spotted Robert Sanchez off his line or not, he had the effort, Elliot Anderson. And it wasn't too far away. It was curling towards goal. And he left it, Robert Sanchez. He's seen the trajectory of the ball going wide. But that wasn't too far away. For Nottingham Forest, it would have been some audacious finish if it had have found the net. But it didn't in the end. As there's going to be a free kick and a yellow card coming out here for Elliot Anderson for a foul committed on Reece James. Or actually on Nottingham Wakey. It was Reece James on the scene claiming for a yellow. And that is given. Yes, a scissor challenge by Elliot Anderson. It's not necessary. Just a little bit unnecessary. And he gets his 10th yellow card of the season, does Elliot Anderson. I'll tell you a little bit more about that goal at Bournemouth. Leicester leading by a goal to nil. They were leading by a goal to nil, sorry. I believe maybe VAR has decided otherwise. I'm not too sure about that one. I will get you an update to that. That's very strange. It says 1-0, but it's not actually 1-0. Very strange. Anyway, Bournemouth and Leicester there in action as well. And it is still 0-0. So whatever happened there, I'm not too sure. But it is still 0-0 between Bournemouth and Leicester. As Crystal Palace tried Liverpool on the break again. Getting forward, Crystal Palace. Berriez at edge of the box, surrounded by red shirts. No one wanted to put a tackle in there for Liverpool. I'm not worried about that at the moment. Back here to the City ground. Still 0-0 between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. Both sides have had, well, varying degrees of goal-mouth action. But for Chelsea, certainly the best chance of the game with Pedro Neto. Completely miscuing it from inside the 18-yard box. Such an opportunity. That was nicely worked by Alanga, though, to press to win it back, but his pass wasn't of the same calibre, and he just surrendered the possession back to Chelsea. For the moment, so still 0-0, and still as you were, basically, from the start of the day. Manchester City in 3rd, Newcastle in 4th, 5th place are Chelsea, 6th are Villa, and 7th are Nottingham Forest as it stands. Even with Manchester City winning, they don't change position winning, they stay 3rd, but everyone else stays in the same positions at the moment. Brentford and Brighton are the only two that have swapped, because Brentford are winning and Brighton are losing, which means Brentford are in 8th. But everywhere else in that top 5 race is as you were at the moment. And of course there will be twists and tails along the way. Or twists and turns along the way is what I meant to say in the tale today. I do expect that to be the case. There always is a twist and a turn on the final day. And Reece James down holding his head at the moment, which is a little bit of a concern for Chelsea. And the referee deeming it enough of a concern to check up on him, but he doesn't need any treatment. Reece James there. Doesn't look like there was any contact on his face, but he felt something certainly, and not enough to receive any treatment. So he is okay, is Reece James. And Forest will get the uncontested drop ball for that stoppage, because they had possession. Gibbs-White. Sangare. Dominguez. Now Ola Aina. Dispossessed by Marco Correa. Forest trying the press again, and nicely stepped in by Murillo. Wins the ball in a good area, and there's space here for Forest if he wants to make it work. Tried to link it up with Wood. He kept it alive. Murillo still going, and he's nicely seen out by the Chelsea defence again, who stepped up in the right moment. But there is space in this game for Forest. If they make the right runs, they get into the right areas, there is room to manoeuvre, and there is room to find gaps in this Chelsea side. And dare I say it, if Nottingham Forest take the lead and everyone else stays as it is, it will certainly have nerves jangling around the grounds. If Nottingham Forest were to take the lead and everyone else stays as it is, Let me calculate this first. Nottingham Forest would go up to 68 points. That would put them up to 4th. It would drop Chelsea down to 7th. Villa would be 6th and Newcastle would be 5th. That's the way it would stand if Forest were to take the lead as it stands now. But if Chelsea were to take the lead as it stands now, they would jump up to 4th. Newcastle would swap places with them and everyone else would stay the same as they are. That's the way it would stand. But Villa still 0-0 away at Man United and Newcastle still 0-0 against Everton at St James's Park. But Newcastle pushing so desperately for that opener. And Aston Villa trying something of the same, but they've not had a shot yet, Aston Villa, so they're struggling at the moment to find a way through. Manchester United, so Man United not wanting to give up anything on Villa today. Remember, Aston Villa need a little bit of help in their chase as Robert Sanchez was pressed there and kicking the ball out of play for a Forest throw. Well, for Aston Villa, if they draw today against Man United, they would need Newcastle to lose against Everton. That would be needed. No matter what happens here, Villa, if they don't win today, Villa, they need Newcastle to lose at home. So Villa need to maybe get the movement on a little bit quicker here if they want to be right in the action. So far, 8 minutes to go with the first half here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0. Offside flag up against Alanga there as that ball was played towards the Nottingham Forest man. Free kick to Chelsea. Keeping an eye on Liverpool there as they try and find an equaliser at Anfield, the champions. Still 1-0 to Crystal Palace in that one. The FA Cup winners taking the lead there very early. The first goal of the day. That one was for any of our 10 games. At the moment, 6 of our 10 games all still remain goalless as we edge closer to half-time. So, if there is going to be a twist in the tail of the top 5 race, it's more than likely looking like it might be a second half twist in this tail, because as it stands, everybody will stay as you were at the start of the day. There's Neto tussling with Milenkovic, who does incredibly well on the challenge, but again his teammates don't win the ball and keep it, and Chelsea have it back. Madueke nicely stepped in by Williams, who puts it out for the Chelsea throw. It was a good tackle by Nico Williams there. That Chelsea throw-in comes to nothing as Murillo intercepts. Gibbs-White. Elliot Anderson. Murillo. Back around the edge of his own box there, Murillo. Every time I look over to my left-hand side for that game between Liverpool and Palace, all I see is Liverpool in and around the final third of Crystal Palace. They have been peppering their way around that goal, Liverpool, trying to find that equaliser, but nothing shown or seen as of yet for the champions there at the moment. But I can tell you, every time I look to my left, it's just Liverpool on the attack again. Reece James has committed a foul there on, I believe that's Chris Wood. See it again? Yeah, it is. Chris Wood tried to spin around Reece James, and James had him hooked with his arm. So that's definitely a foul. And a free kick to Nottingham Forest. Well, if Forest take the lead before half-time, what an uproar, an eruption it will be at the City Ground. As they would be in the top 5 if they take the lead as it stands elsewhere. Free kick taken quickly, breaking towards the box. Man was brought down there, I think it was Alanga, and he wasn't given a foul by the referee. That's a good challenge recovery by Nico Williams. Out for another Chelsea throw. Didn't look like much of a foul, to be honest, on Anthony Alanga. Similar to the one from earlier on with Cole Palmer. It's not a foul. It's the tangling of legs between the two players more than anything else. Less than 5 minutes to go of the first half here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0. A result as it stands that would be enough for Chelsea to get Champions League. Not enough for Nottingham Forest, who would stay 7th as it stands around the grounds. Here's Noni Madueke for Chelsea. Turns it back to Tosin. I'll give you some more stats on this game. Well, Nottingham Forest have beaten Chelsea once in the last 5 head-to-heads. That was a 1-0 win at Stamford Bridge in September 2023. Anthony Elanga scored the winner that day. But for Chelsea, they've only beaten Forest once in the last 5 head-to-heads. That was a 3-2 win at the City Ground back in May of 2024. Raheem Sterling and Nicholas Jackson with 2 late goals to seal a victory for Chelsea. So both sides have only beaten each other once in the last 5. 3 draws between the sides in the last 5. So that they've been tight affairs. And those 2 wins, by the way, in the last 5 for either side have been by 1 goal. So there's not much in these battles between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea in their last 5 meetings for them. Here's Marco Correa to Sancho. Up against Ola Aina. Sancho gets the cross in. Headed away by Milenkovic. And held up by Chris Wood, who lays it off to Sangari as Forest try and hit a counter. And Gibbs White somehow squeezes that one out of space. Elanga now gives it off to Nico Williams. They're charging forward, Forest. They want to get forward quickly. That was nicely manoeuvred. Back to Gibbs White now. Dominguez. Out wide, look at the space for Ola Aina. Goes for the cross, Chris Wood! Oh, it's missed the goalkeeper and it's gone over the bar. Very similar to Pedro Neto's chance at the other end for Chelsea. One of their ruthless strikers in the Premier League this season, Chris Wood, misses an absolute sitter of a chance. He's onside, he's got there ahead of the keeper. The cross is beautiful, the delivery is everything you want. And he shins it. Chris Wood, if he gets a clean connection there, that's 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. But he shins it over the bar. That's an even worse missed chance than Pedro Neto's earlier. It was a gift of an opportunity for Chris Wood, who couldn't take it. The man who's put the ball in the back of the net 20 times this season in the Premier League. Forest's top scorer couldn't add it to and make it 21. That was the first real main big chance for Nottingham Forest today. It was certainly their best chance, without a shadow of a doubt. Both sides missing gilt-edge opportunities. Here's Jadon Sancho to try and give Chelsea one more before half-time. Down the left, he's given it away to Ibrahim Sangari, who stepped in at the right time. And plays it into space, and Ola Aina's got space to break here for Forest. This is where they can be a threat. Finds Gibbs White, who rolls it through just short to Elanga. And nicely cut out in Cucurella. Couldn't keep it in play. Well, Forest are in the ascendancy, but they're messing up their own chances at the minute. Lovely from Ola Aina. Lays it off to Gibbs White, who's in acres of space, and he tries to find Elanga in behind, but he bobbles it towards the Chelsea defence that block him off. But they get the throw-in out of it in the end, Nottingham Forest. But they're certainly the side, I'd say at this minute in time, that are looking the most likely to score. They're not taking their chances when they come, Forest. They need to. A couple of goals to tell you about. A couple of our nil-nillers that are not nil-nil anymore. A goal at Portman Road. West Ham have taken the lead against Ipswich. James Ward-Prowse has given West Ham the lead there. And at St Mary's this afternoon, the Premier League runners-up Arsenal, for the 3rd consecutive season they will finish second. Arsenal. Kieran Tierney has given them the lead away at Southampton. So 1-0 to Arsenal, 1-0 to West Ham in their respective away games. As we will have one additional minute at the end of the first half here at the City Grounds. And I can tell you there's been a massive move at Old Trafford. We'll get to that in a moment after this Forest free kick. It's massive. It's not a goal, but it is huge what's just happened. Anderson's delivery is terrible, right into the hands of Robert Sanchez. We can tell you that at Old Trafford, just before half-time, there has been a red card. Aston Villa are down to 10, and Emi Martinez's what could be his final game for Villa, he has been shown red for a professional last man foul. So Villa down to 10 here at this moment in time. And Emi Martinez is the one to see it. He has been seen off the field. And we have half time here at the City Ground. Red card for Emi Martinez. Twists and turns coming through now. We can certainly see it. And that is a body blow for Aston Villa. Losing a man, but probably losing the most important man to them on the field, and their goalkeeper, just before half-time. They're still playing. There's 2 additional minutes there. There will be a minute or so still to go, probably, with all that red card drama. But half-time at the City Ground, it's 0-0 between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. It's still 0-0 between Man United and Villa. I'm not too sure whether they've given a penalty there at the City or at Old Trafford. I'm not too sure whether it's going to be a penalty, but it's certainly a red card for Emi Martinez. I didn't quite catch what happened, but he is dismissed. He has been dismissed, Emi Martinez, which is huge for other teams. Certainly in that top 5 race. Not good news for Villa as they're readying their substitute goalkeeper. Aston Villa now this afternoon. Robin Olsen is going to be coming on. So not good for Emi Martinez in what could be his final game for Aston Villa, as he has been shown red at Old Trafford. Positives for Man United, not many of them this season, but a positive indeed for them, leading by a man. Heading towards half-time. Right, it is half-time at the City Grounds. I'm not too sure. I want to wait and see if they've given a penalty at Man United Villa, because they haven't moved until Villa are making this change, so I'm guessing we will see. So Marco Asensio, I believe, is coming off for Aston Villa here at Old Trafford. What a tough moment this is for Aston Villa. And Unai Emery. My goodness. How difficult that will be. So Asensio off, Olsen on. I'm guessing the keeper's given a professional last man foul. It would be a penalty unless it's outside the box. Then I would say it's obviously a free kick, but it is a free kick to Manchester United. We'll actually watch this free kick. Why not? We're here watching it, so we'll watch it, and that'll probably be half-time there. It's half-times in every other game on the final day, so 9 games at half-time, so you're not missing anything elsewhere. It's Man United 0, Villa 0 here. Fernandes goes short with a free kick, nice 1-2, and it's skied over the bar by Diogo Dalot. Right, at half-time there it will be surely Man United 0, Villa 0, but the big news is that Emi Martinez was shown red, and Villa are a man down heading into half-time at Old Trafford. Right, we'll be back for analysis and a roundup of all the scores from around the grounds when we return here on this Premier League final day. Welcome back to Premier League Live on the final day here of the Premier League season. We are 8 minutes away from the second half at the City Ground between Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. It's 0-0 at the break, which means, as it stands, Chelsea would still be getting Champions League football because everywhere else is goalless in terms of the teams that could affect it. City are 1-0 up away at Fulham, so that would keep them out of the conversation. Let's show you where it and what it looks like around the grounds then at half-time. These are all the scores from the grounds. No more than one goal in each game so far this afternoon. 6 games that have a goal in them, 4 that are goalless, including 3 that involve European sides that were European chasing sides that we're watching this afternoon. We start at the top, a 0-0 at the moment between Bournemouth and Leicester at the Vitality. Bournemouth can finish 9th today if they win and results go their way. Leicester already relegated. Fulham trail Manchester City at half-time. City with 14 wins in a row away at Fulham. They would surely, realistically, only need a point to finish in the top 5 today. But they're doing better than that. They're winning at half-time. İlkay Gündoğan's goal after 21 minutes has given City the lead, which they have at half-time. Ipswich 1-0 down at home against West Ham United. James Ward-Prowse with the goal to give West Ham the lead. The champions trailing at home by a goal to 0 to Crystal Palace. Ismaila Sarr in the first 10 minutes of the game. The first goal of the day at Anfield is 0-1 at the break. 0-0 between Man United and Villa, but there is key news there because Aston Villa are down to 10. They had to make a goalkeeper swap in that first half. Emiliano Martinez, their goalkeeper, was sent off for a professional last man foul, so he is off. They had to replace him with the goalkeeper position. Robin Olsen coming in at replacement of Marco Asensio, who is to be taken off, obviously. Goalkeeper red carded. 0-0 between Newcastle and Everton at the break. That's a key game. If Newcastle win that, they are guaranteed top 5. But a draw could and couldn't be enough. A draw would be enough at the moment if Villa are because Villa aren't winning against United and Chelsea are drawing against Nottingham Forest. A draw wouldn't be enough though if that changes elsewhere, if Villa start winning and either one of the teams we're watching start winning. That would change the fate for Newcastle, but they're drawing at half-time and no damage has been done to the Magpies. Here at the City Ground, it's Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0. Southampton 1-0 down at home against Arsenal. The league's runners-up leading at half-time. They're on 74 points at the moment, Arsenal. Kieran Tierney with the goal in the first half has Arsenal leading. Tottenham 1-0 up against Brighton, the new Europa League champions. Already confirmed Champions League football are Tottenham after that Europa League final win. And they lead at half-time from the penalty spot. Dominic Solanke giving them the lead for Spurs. But Brighton have been pushing, but haven't been able to find an equaliser in that first half. Remember, Brighton only need a point to secure 8th place. That could be a European place if results go their way. And Wolves against Brentford at the moment. Brentford winning and Brighton losing means Brentford are 8th. They're 1-0 up away at Wolves. Brandon Burmo with the goal there. So this is the way the table looks at half-time. Liverpool, obviously the champions. They'll not be dethroned or taken off that top spot. At half-time, 83 points. Arsenal on 74 and Manchester City in 3rd on 71. As it stands, they will all stay as they are. Newcastle in 4th on 67. Chelsea on 67, as are Aston Villa. All 3 teams are drawing, all on 67, and Nottingham Forest in 7th on 66. They're drawing, of course, with Chelsea. Any change in fixture, any change in scoreline could massively change the table. We will see what comes there. Brentford in 8th, going above Brighton as it stands on 58 points. On goal difference for those two teams separated. Palace would make the top half as they're currently winning at Anfield. They're on 55 points. If we go into the bottom half, Bournemouth would drop out of the top half. Or Fulham would drop out of the top half, swapping with Bournemouth, who stay on 11th. They're on 54. Fulham on 54. They're both currently... Fulham are losing. Bournemouth are drawing. Everton... in 13th, they can't move up or down today. Everton, they're on 46, drawing away at Newcastle. West Ham winning away from home, they're on 43. Spurs winning on 41. Wolves on 41. And Man United drawing at home to Aston Villa with other results going against them means they are 17th on 40 points. That would be a dreadful end of the season for Man United if they finish in the lowest league position without being relegated. And then the 3 relegated sides, Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton. Right, that's where we stand in the table at half-time. A big second half, no doubt, to come, where a lot of sides, still a lot to be decided for them, but not much movement in terms of the scorelines in that first half. Still 4 0-0 draws at the moment, and 3 of which are including sides that are in that top 5 battle. We will see what can come out of it when we return for the second half in just a moment. Welcome back to the Premier League Final Day live here this afternoon with me, Kevin Ferris. 10 games all live in the Premier League today on the final day of the season, and all 10 games at half-time at the moment around the day. Right, we have more to come on LFS before we finish this season. We've one more game to come for you next week. That is the 2025 Champions League final at PSG against Inter Milan in Munich. That's next Saturday. We're live from around about, I think it's around about 7:30. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock from the Allianz Arena. For next season, let's get yourself ready for the next Premier League season. The 25-26 fixtures are released on Wednesday the 18th of June. And then the new season, the 25-26 season, starts on the 16th of August, in which we will see, this is our setup for next season, Sunderland, Leeds and Burnley join us for next season after they were promoted. That is the full list of teams for the 25-26 season in the Premier League. And there's the confirmation of the 3 promoted sides for the next campaign. Right, let's get ready for the second half at the City Ground. It's going to be coming your way in a moment. The 2 sides goalless at the break, battling for that place in the top 5 at the moment. It would be Chelsea's, because they are currently drawing and everywhere else is not affecting them. So therefore, it would be Chelsea still in the top 5. It would be as you were from the start of the day. But is there a twist and a turn in the tail before the final whistle? Surely there most often always is in this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. I'll have to listen in here because Trent Alexander-Arnold's coming on at half-time at Anfield, which is very interesting. Remember for you, as I said, like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you've done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated, and we thank each and every one of you who's joining us this afternoon for this one on the Premier League final day. We're all but ready to go between Nott'm Forest and Chelsea for the second half. It's Palace leading Liverpool by a goal to 0. Alexander-Arnold is ready to come on, which is a very intriguing and interesting prospect. His final game in a Liverpool shirt today. What reception will he get when he does enter the fray? He was booed onto the field before. And couldn't really tell. It sounds like an applause, but can't really tell from that one. But nonetheless, Alexander-Arnold's on the field and applauded by a few fans. Some not applauding, as you would probably expect. Anyway, we'll worry about that another time. Of course, the trophy lift for Liverpool will be shortly after the final whistle at Anfield. But we can head back to the City Ground, which second half should be getting underway very shortly. There was a good bit of a delay. I don't know what's happening at the City Ground, but they haven't emerged. They were meant to emerge a good few minutes ago, but no idea why they haven't returned at half-time. Well, they are at the moment, all waiting on the return of the players. As it stands, though, it would see, just to confirm for you, reiterate for you, where each and every team would be as it stands. As they were, basically, at the start of the day. Chelsea would still finish in the top 5 as it stands. Forest would be in 7th as it stands, as would Villa would be in 6th, and Newcastle would be 4th, City would be 3rd. So that's the way it rings out. Nothing has changed positionally so far, because only there's still 3 0-0s at the moment in the rest of those games, and the only game that has a goal in it involving the top 5 race is Manchester City's goal against Fulham, which has Ilkay Gundogan's goal has City leading, and they're confirming 3rd place as it stands. They would, with a win there, Manchester City. Forget about 5th, they would finish 3rd for Manchester City with a win. Right, eventually they find their way back onto the pitch, these two sets of players. Who knows what's kept them? But don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. It is the tradition at the start of the half. We went a little bit early this time, but if you haven't done so already, that would be greatly appreciated. We do appreciate that, and we hope you can get involved. It's great to have you all with us for this one this afternoon. We had a fantastic twist in the second half at Wembley yesterday in that EFL Championship playoff final, so we'll see if there's going to be another twist today in the second half, this time at the City Ground on the banks of the River Trent in Nottingham. Will Forest claim Champions League, or will Chelsea get over the line and get it done? A draw could see both sides out of the top 7 or the top 5 by the end of today. If they both draw today and Aston Villa were to win at Old Trafford, then Aston Villa would jump above Chelsea, and Chelsea and Forest would be 6th and 7th respectively if they end up drawing. So a draw isn't guaranteed for either side. It keeps Chelsea in it at the moment, but that is with helping hands from other teams in other games. But that is not settled and done and dusted yet. So Chelsea still need to win this as much as Nottingham Forest do, just to give themselves a little bit of respite for the second half and for the remainder of the season. But remember, we will not miss a single thing here. You will not miss a single thing here in the second half. Any goal that goes in, we will let you know, and we'll let you know what it means for the table as we get, or ready to get, back underway at the City Grounds. 0-0 at the moment. 0-0 would not be enough for Nottingham Forest no matter what happens elsewhere. They need to win today, Forest, and hope other results go their way to secure a top 5 finish. They win, and either Newcastle or Villa not to win, that would be enough for Nottingham Forest to claim a Champions League spot. Any other result would deny them a top 5 finish. Well, they know their job, Forest. They know it simply. Win, and you've got as good a chance as any. A win doesn't guarantee it, of course. As I said, they've put themselves in a position where they need help from other teams. But surely with Villa down to 10, and Newcastle not able to find a way through yet, you would probably back yourself, Forest, if you win this game, that Villa might not be able to win at Man United down to 10 men. But you never know. But they would certainly feel that that might be a possibility. There's a ball fed into the channel here for Elanga to chase, and he couldn't keep it in play. Anthony Elanga, but gets a thumbs up to the man who played that ball. And Forest give away a throw. There's a chance at Anfield. I don't know what's happened there. Liverpool calling for a handball. I think they might be off Maxence Lacroix. Salah's definitely claiming it. It looked like a handball. Directed it wide of goal using his hand. It was very strange, that one. Just a corner for Liverpool. Palace might get away with that one. Nonetheless, Liverpool again starting the second half as they ended it, basically, in a chance to try and find a leveller. The referee's just explaining the situation to the Liverpool captain. Just wondering what was happening there. Here it's still 0-0 and a little bit of a stoppage for a Chelsea free kick in the centre of the field. Of course, both sides had their big chance in that first half. Pedro Neto skying for Chelsea. Chris Wood putting it over the bar for Nottingham Forest. And two very good goal-scoring opportunities as Palmer reverses nicely to Sancho here. Sancho through to try and find Cucurella, but shielded well. Back to Matt Sells for Nottingham Forest. We have a goal to tell you about at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Remember, if Brighton get anything out of that game, they are 8th, no matter what happens elsewhere, because they have the advantage coming into the day ahead of Brentford, and they have equalised Brighton. So it is 1-1 there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Jack Hinchelwood, who scored that late winner against Liverpool on match day 37, might just be doing enough for Brighton again to claim at least a point at the moment away at Tottenham. It is 1-1 there, which as it stands... we'll get to the as it stands in a moment because Chelsea are trying to come forward here. I'll show you the table in a second. Here's Enzo Fernandez. Out wide it goes to Sancho. Plays it to Palmer. Palmer's ball across. Blocked away by Milenkovic for a corner. By the way, Brighton back up above Brentford now. So Brighton picking up anything out of that game away at Tottenham, they would get 8th no matter what Brentford can do. Brentford have to hope that Brighton lose away at Spurs for them to have any chance of finishing 8th. And that is the case, as I say, that if 8th even becomes a European spot, which is not guaranteed either. Corner taken short by Chelsea. Palmer to deliver into the box. Headed away by Murillo. Sancho now, Cucurella, and a bit of a awful kick. Oh, and it's going to be a tap-in for Levi Colwill. And Chelsea take the lead. A bit of a calamitous bit of defending from Nottingham Forest. Whether it was Nico Williams with a weird header, it completely wrong-footed all the defence and the goalkeeper. And Levi Colwill at the back post has netted into an empty net. And Chelsea take the lead. Nottingham Forest, a defeat no matter what happens elsewhere, is nowhere near enough. They have to win and hope everything happens elsewhere. But at the moment, they have caused their own downfall. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1, and Levi Colwill will not score an easier goal in his life. It all comes from that Palmer delivery. It's cleared away by Murillo, but it's kept alive in and around the edge of the box by Enzo Fernandez and Marc Cucurella, who keep the pressure on. It's Nico Williams with a strange header, miscues it, Neto slides it across, the keeper came for it, empty net, and the cross finds Levi Colwill at the back post, and he slots it into an empty net. Great goal for Chelsea, terrible for Nottingham Forest, but Levi Colwill, as I said, will not score an easier goal in his life. 1-0 to Chelsea. And now they want to add to that. Here's Manueki breaking forward. Whips it across again and hooked away by Matt Sells. Forest are now hanging on to not lose this by much. Now Forest want a counter. Want to eradicate that deficit now. So lots happening elsewhere. We have a goal at Ipswich, a goal at Southampton. Alanga breaking towards the box. Alanga has the shot deflected and bouncing up into the hands of Robert Sanchez. Wow. Right. Let's just digest everything. Chelsea are 1-0 up against Nottingham Forest. Right. What does that do to the table? Let's show you then. It would mean Chelsea would move up above Newcastle to 4th. So Forest will be out of contention as it stands. They've been 65. They would not be able to get anywhere near the top 5 by losing. But it does put pressure on Newcastle now with Chelsea winning. Because if Newcastle failed to win, Villa could win and go above them, and Newcastle would finish outside the top 5 as it stands. That's the way it lands at the moment, as Chelsea winning 1-0, but Forest want to equalise. Alanga's ball across. Cleared away by Colwell, and he puts it behind for the corner. We have lots of action. There's goals flying around the grounds now. They've all come to life. It happens every single time. When an important goal goes in somewhere, goals fly in at the same time. It's like the bus effect. Marilla with the ball in, cleared away nicely, and now Forest have to be wary of this counter-attack here. It's Neto on the move. He skipped past one, and he tried to get past another, but there was no room to manoeuvre there. And now Forest trying to make it a bit end-to-end, but they give it away cheaply again through Elliot Anderson. Maybe losing their way a little bit now, Nottingham Forest. That's the exact opposite of what they need. We can update you on some other goals from around the grounds as it stands then. This is the way it looks. Ipswich had equalised. Nathan Broadhead had got them back level. But Jared Bowen has put West Ham back in front, so it's 2-1 to the Hammers there. At the moment, Southampton have equalised against Arsenal. Ross Stewart has equalised, so it's 1-1 there. And of course, as you can see, all still as it stands elsewhere. Right, Chelsea have another corner. Ola Aina deflecting that one behind for another corner. So it's Chelsea the advantage and Chelsea with the lead. And now they have a set piece on this far left side. As my watch is listening to me again. Liverpool are still probing Crystal Palace, but Palace holding firm at the moment. And still 0-0 between Man United and Villa, which is Villa down to 10, remember. So corner taken shot by Chelsea again. Palmer trying to roll it back towards Neto. Neto chips it into the box. Too high for Tosin. Forrest trying to get it away. Sangari's clearance doesn't go very far. But it's going to be a free kick to Forest. I think there was maybe a handball in there, which has given the referee a decision to make. And he gives a free kick to Nottingham Forest. And it looks like Callum Hudson-Odoi is getting himself ready. I said he could be a very important super sub for Nottingham Forest. The former Chelsea player, of course, Callum Hudson-Odoi. It was, for Forest fans, very good, I'm sure, to see him on the bench today. And trying to make an impact, I'm sure, when he does come onto the field in a matter of moments. Forest need to win, remember, and hope other results go their way if they get top 5. As it stands, if they had taken the lead, Forest, they would have jumped up to the top 5 because Villa and Newcastle are not winning at the moment. Here's Elliot Anderson trying to get Forest that equalising goal, but he's surrounded by blue shirts. Madueke does well to win the throw or the goal kick of Elliot Anderson there. Forest need to move quickly, and they can't dwell upon the result. They can't feel sorry for themselves. They need to stand up and stand tall and act like they should be. Well, one thing, the Golden Boot. Well, the Golden Glove, race was on today. David Raya and Matt Sells are level on 13 clean sheets each. Neither of them will get a clean sheet now because Southampton have scored against Arsenal and Chelsea have scored against Forest. So neither would get a clean sheet there. So they would be level on 13. So they would both get the Golden Glove for the moment. It was nicely worked by Forest there. Wood dropping off, finding Alanga, who was fouled. That's going to be a free kick to Nottingham Forest. Moises Caicedo with a foul. And Moises Caicedo getting a yellow card for that foul. Yeah, it's just a little cynical one from Moises Caicedo. He was nowhere near the ball. It was certainly a foul. His 11th yellow card of the season for Moises Caicedo. So Forest making this change now at 6, coming off for 14. So Ibrahim Sangari will be coming off, and Callum Hudson-Odoi will be coming on. So a straight a swap which would push the Forest midfield a little further forward, more attacking, you would feel, for Nottingham Forest. They've no choice now. They've nothing to lose. They have to win this game and hope that results go their way elsewhere to get top 5. I did read that a draw in some circumstance would be enough, but they would need Villa to lose and Newcastle to lose by 10 goals, which is nigh on impossible. As Murillo delivers towards the box and the free kick. It's flicked on. It's Chris Wood! And he skied it again. The flag was up anyway, but my goodness, Chris Wood couldn't hit a barn door with that finish. Couldn't hit the space station with that sort of finish. That was going galactic. He was miles offside anyway, but that was a terrible touch. Awful. Absolutely awful for Chris Wood. Long kick by Chelsea will be retrieved by the Forest goalkeeper Matt Sells. Let's bring you some more stats. They have Forest coming into today actually conceded the joint least goals at home, 15, along with Liverpool, who've both sides have conceded 1 goal. So Forest still level for the best defence at home this season in terms of least goals conceded, which is what they need today. Here's Hudson-Odoi on the field trying to make an impact. Nice work up with Elliot Anderson, but Williams couldn't find a way through. Forest pushing and probing now. They need something. Although an equaliser at this stage wouldn't be enough either, but an equaliser would surely ignite this crowd to believe they can go on and win it. And that's the significance of an equalising goal for Nottingham Forest. Nice combination down the right. Ina's delivery was close to Chris Wood, and it's cleared behind by Caicedo for a corner. Yeah, it was good pressure down that right side. Nice combination between 3 players for Forest, and it was Ina's delivery. A little bit under hit, but what he did was he put pressure on Chelsea to clear it, and they put it out for the corner. And Forest, the joint most set-piece goals this season in the Premier League, along with Crystal Palace. So they know how to find the net from these positions. Ball whipped in, but too close to Robert Sanchez from the corner as the Chelsea keeper grabs it. And they've only won 1 game this season when conceding first. Forest, they've conceded first 11 times, won 1, drawn 2, and lost 8 of those 11 games in which they conceded first. So it's not nice reading for Forest fans. But they have done it before. They've only done it once this season. And they've just over 30 minutes to find something. Possibly upset Chelsea along with them. As I said at half-time, even a draw for Chelsea wouldn't have been kind of respite enough. A win would be. A win would be respite enough because they would be 2 points clear of 6th. And would have a massive goal difference swing on them anyway. Aston Villa, even if Villa were to win at Old Trafford, a win for Chelsea would all but seal it. Here is Cole Palmer trying to get it in, and the shot deflected into the hands of the Forest keeper Matt Sells. Cole Palmer, the most productive Chelsea player. He's the most goals and the most assists for Chelsea this season. 23 combined, 15 goals, 8 assists for Cole Palmer for Chelsea. Hudson-Odoi linking up with Elliot Anderson, who's got a little bit leggy, that Forest midfield. That's why maybe Nuno wanted to make that change, bring a more attacking player on and give them more of a threat when going forward, Forest. As Chelsea want to make a change of their own here. Jadon Sancho is going to be making way. And making way for Romeo Lavia, so maybe some more stability in midfield in reaction to that Forest change. Chelsea make a tweak and bring on Romeo Lavia in that midfield for Chelsea. Maybe it's just a countermeasure to Hudson-Odoi coming on, you would say. Murillo down the line, nice ball darted towards Gibbs White, who was just beaten to it, but the last touch did come off Tosin. It It will be a Forest corner. We have a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to tell you about. Brighton have taken the lead against Tottenham. So Brighton 2, Tottenham 1 there at the moment, as Liverpool again come ever so close to equalising at Anfield. Darwin Nunez there missing, and the corner whipped in for Forest. It's not cleared away by Chelsea. Tosin just about got it half cleared. It's still in the box here. Nico Williams' effort hit a hand. Aina hits it, but skies it. Goal kick. Forest there made that nervy for Chelsea. Probably Chelsea made it nervy for themselves, to be honest. Not getting it away clean enough. It gives some positivity to Nottingham Forest that Chelsea aren't all wrapped up here. But as I say, Brighton have taken the lead against Tottenham now. So Brighton 2-1 up away at Spurs means no matter what happens at Brentford, Brighton are taking further and firmer grip of 8th place as it stands. A win would be more than enough. They only need a point, Brighton, to secure 8th, but they're winning at the moment. And the goal, again, scored by Jack Hinchelwood. 2 goals for him on the day, has turned the result around for Brighton. But remember, 8th isn't a European place at the moment. Chelsea have to win the Conference League for that to be a possibility on Wednesday, so I'm sure Brighton, if they get over the line today, will be watching on keenly at the weekend, or in midweek, and that is also with a combination of other results as well. Has to happen. I'll confirm that for you anyway, come the final whistle, whether that can be a possibility or not. As Cole Palmer's gone down, whether this is tactical or not, whether he's just play acting, but it looks he is in pain, Cole Palmer, but we'll keep a very close eye on that one. That's not something Chelsea want to see. Maybe it could be one of those. It looks like it might be a bit tactical because he's just been helped back to his feet without any treatment. So keep an eye on Cole Palmer, but something's telling me that's a little bit on the hint of time wasting. There's been a red card given out at Anfield, and I think Ryan Gravenberch's been given a red card. From what I can tell, the champions are down to 10. I've looked over and I saw a red card, and it is Ryan Gravenberch has been sent off. So the champions 1-0 down, and now down to 10. I'm not too sure what's happened, but we'll get to that in a moment, because Chelsea on the move again here. Madueke, nice little bits of skill. Tried to lay it off, and is going to give the free kick against Noni Madueke, I think, here. The referee, Anthony Taylor. Both Dominguez and Madueke are down in pain. And I'm trying to see what the referee has decided. See this for Liverpool. Oh, yeah, it's definitely a red card. Daichi Kamada is running through. Gravenberch with a heavy touch, and he's last man. It's definitely a red. It's a good decision, and terrible from Liverpool's point of view. But again, as I said, they won't care what happens on the field of play. Come the final whistle, they will be champions. They will lift the trophy. They will do whatever they need to do. It doesn't really matter for Liverpool, but the game of football has to be still played. We have a goal at St James's Park to tell you about. This is massive, because this is the first time today that anyone that started the day outside the top 5 is outside the top 5 now. Newcastle United are 1-0 down. Everton have taken the lead at Newcastle. Carlos Alcaraz with a goal, which means Aston Villa, currently drawing away at Man United, would jump above Newcastle up into 5th. Wow. So Newcastle are down by a goal to 0, and Aston Villa are drawing. If Forest can turn this around, they can have a whole different task on their hands as well. But for now, it's advantage Aston Villa, because they are drawing away at Man United, which is, at this moment in time, probably the most precious point of their season, because that is the point that would see them in the Champions League as it stands. Newcastle losing means they don't gain a point. They don't have any points to take out of the day as it stands, which would put them outside the top 6, or outside the top 5, sorry. of which they started the day in 4th, did Newcastle. This is big, big news. And Everton are 1-0 up. So Everton, at the moment, their goal is denying Newcastle a Champions League spot. That is the way it stands, and there's the scorelines as they stand at the moment. My goodness. Remember, though, if Nottingham Forest win, they can move up to the top 5. With Newcastle losing and Villa drawing, they would have the advantage if they win, but that is only if they win, and they're currently losing, which is no help to them. By the way, I was talking about all that because there was a stoppage in play here at the City Ground. Forest 1-0 down, and they're going to lose a man. Nicolas Dominguez is going to have to come off here. He's hobbling to the sideline, so whatever happened to him in that challenge a little earlier is going to see him off the field now, and he's going to be replaced here by Ryan Yates. So a very experienced midfielder for Forest coming onto the field with 23 minutes to go, knowing that their season all comes down to the next quarter of this match. Turn it around, and as it stands, you will be getting Champions League. But fail to do that, and it will be up to the gods what happens elsewhere. It can be even more entertaining. If Newcastle lose and Villa lose, Forest would only need to draw. Because if Villa lose, they would be in 66. Newcastle losing would be in 66. And Forest drawing... Oh no, sorry, they would be in 6th. Apologies, that's wrong, because Newcastle would still get it on goal difference. Apologies. I'm confusing myself now. Anyway, Forest need to win. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. A draw would push them up to 6th, but it wouldn't get them any further than that. Unless Everton go and score 9 more goals against Newcastle. Which I don't think is going to happen, but you never know. At the moment, there is none of our home teams on the final day are winning. None of them. As that is a loose ball into the box there by Ola Aina. Far too close to the Chelsea keeper. None of our home teams are winning today on the final day, which is quite mental. Quite mental. There's quite a few away wins on the cards, but and 1 or 2 draws to go with it as well. Still, Chelsea lead by a goal to 0 here, which is enough to get them top 5. They will be 4th with a win, Chelsea. As it stands, with Newcastle losing and Villa drawing, Chelsea would be up to 4th. Villa would be 5th, and Newcastle would be 6th, and Forest would stay as they are in 7th. Gibbs-White round the corner to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Just over 20 minutes to go. Here's Nico Williams against Caicedo. Williams tries to get the ball across, and he did get it across, but it was cleared away by Tosin. And Murillo will drift it back to their goalkeeper again for Forest as they try and probe and push for something here, Forest. 20 minutes to find 2 goals at least. Aina, ball forward again. Overhits it, miscues it, doesn't hit it in the right area. And a promising chance for Forest comes falling away again. It's just not clicking for Forest at the moment. They've battled well, but they have conceded and they haven't scored, which is the worry at the moment. They would get European football, of course, at the moment. Forest, obviously, they've got European football. They will still get Conference League football. That's the lowest they can get today. They can get Europa League if they finish 6th, and they can get Champions League if they finish in the top 5. So there's 3 different competitions on the line for Forest. They will get one of them, but which one will they get? They're moving it nicely here. Hudson-Odoi. Out wide it goes to Elliot Anderson, who whips the cross deep and too close to Robert Sanchez as Chris Wood made the run. But Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, had it under control. We've another goal to tell you about at St Mary's. The already relegated Southampton, bottom of the league. Southampton are now trailing once again to Arsenal. So Arsenal have retaken the lead there. It is now 2-1 to the Gunners. or it was 2-1 to the Gunners. That goal has been disallowed. So, correction, it's still 1-1. That was a nothing moment, really. But what is certain is that Everton are still leading Newcastle, which at the moment would get Villa Champions League because they're drawing at Man United. That's the way it stands at the moment. Man United are pushing for a winner, but nothing coming through yet. Remember, if Villa are to lose, they would swap back places with Newcastle, who would have a better goal difference than them, and they would go back to 5th Newcastle. But if they can turn it around in their own game, they can certainly have an even better chance themselves. It doesn't look like it's going to turn around at Craven Cottage, because Man City have now added a second. So they've taken firm grip of that game, and even a point would have been enough surely for City today, but they're getting all three and are doing it well. Erling Haaland from the penalty spot has Manchester City now 2-0 to the good, with around about 15 minutes to go in that one. 15 minutes or more to go in the Premier League season, and it looks like it's going to be Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea and Aston Villa that will get Champions League as it stands. But there can be more twists in the tale to come as the day goes on. Wolves have equalised at home against Brentford, so Brentford's slim hopes of a chance of overtaking Brighton are even further diminished, because they have to win themselves and hope that Brighton lose, but the complete opposite's happening. Brighton are winning and Brentford are drawing. Marshall Munetsi, has equalised for Wolves. 1-1 there. Reminder for you, once the final whistle goes in all 10 games, we will bring you up to date with what's happened. We'll tell you who and what is getting finishing where, and then we will leave you for the afternoon. And we'll be back with a full reaction show. We'll talk about it all tomorrow, and I'll look back on my pre-season predictions tomorrow on a full reaction show to the final day of the season. You can join us then. That's tomorrow. We'll have the live stream ready for you a little later on this evening. We'll schedule that one. Here is Hudson-Odoi down the left side for Forest. Still time for this to change. Forest looking to chip it across towards Aina, but nicely defended by Chelsea again. Again, Chelsea can't get out at the moment. It's all Forest, but they're just not finding the net yet, Forest. Remember, there's more than enough time for them to do it. Bournemouth, I believe, have taken the lead against Leicester in that one. Antoine Semenyo has given Bournemouth the lead, so 1-0 to Bournemouth in that game. So all but one of our final day games is goalless. Only one of our final of our 10 games is goalless. That game between Man United and Aston Villa, and that goalless draw at the moment would see Aston Villa get top 5. With Newcastle losing and Chelsea winning, it would be Villa who would be getting a Champions League place alongside Chelsea, City, Arsenal and Liverpool as it stands. Right, free kick here for Forest, 15 to go. They need a goal here at least to kind of catapult them towards a winner. They need to win, and if they were to win as it stands, they would be taking that 5th place. Losing at the moment, they would be staying in 7th. Here's Anthony Elanga over this free kick for Nottingham Forest. Around about 30 or so yards out. Elanga! And he hits it right at the goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez. Right, so a quick roundup of all the scores as they stand while the game's in pause here. Bournemouth 1 up against Leicester. Man City 2 to the good against Fulham. Ipswich 1, West Ham 2 there. Liverpool 1-0 down against Crystal Palace. And a man down are Liverpool in that one. United 0, Villa 0. Villa down to 10 there. Everton 1-0 up away at Newcastle. 0-0 between Forest and Chelsea. 0-0 between Forest and Chelsea. That's not right. 0-1 between Forest and Chelsea. 1-1 between Southampton and Arsenal. 2-1 Brighton away at Tottenham. And 1-1 between Wolves and Brentford. I can tell you there's been a change to that scoreline at Old Trafford. We'll get there in a moment because Forest are on the move. And here they come in behind. Ola Aina across. Too much again. They're doing the right things in the approach play. Forest, they're getting forward. But when they get in anywhere near the box, they crumble. Absolutely crumble. And again, it's a terrible ball by Ola Aina. They are falling at the final hurdle again, Nottingham Forest. There's been a goal at Old Trafford. And I can tell you, Newcastle fans will be happy because Manchester United have taken the lead. They lead Aston Villa. They have a man advantage and now they have a goal advantage, Manchester United. So Villa's precious 0-0 draw looks unlikely now. They're not going to get it, which would drop Villa out of the top 5 again. Amad Diallo with a goal could seal a win for Man United, and it could be defeat for Villa, which as it stands, remember, would push Villa back down to 6th and Newcastle up to 5th, but only on goal difference. It can all still change if Villa find a way back in that one. That is how it stands. My goodness. We're starting to see some movement now. Gibbs White doing well to hold on to that one. Forest want to change the scoreline here too. Ola Aina, low cross, blocked, deflected, calls a handball but no foul. And there is now going to be a foul against Nottingham Forest because Mark Cucurella has gone down and the game has gone absolutely bonkers. There's players flying everywhere and yellow cards flying everywhere. It's gone all bonkers. The emotions, the passion of the final day, and Anthony Taylor has to deal with craziness here. There's 2 Chelsea players on the ground. There's players have been booked. Really, I don't know how that all happened. That's mental. I have no idea who's been booked, but there's players have been booked. And Anthony Taylor has to deal with some issues here. And you see this again. It was Gibbs White. He held on to the ball well. He did well against Caicedo. That's not a foul. He did well. Shielded the ball away from the man. Laid it off, and the ball comes wide, and Cucurella was fouled by Ola Aina, and that is a yellow card. It is. But Chelsea know what they're doing. I'll just say that much. And who can blame them? They're fighting for their season. They're fighting to get Champions League. Just as Nottingham Forest are. And they have scored. They lead, so they've got the advantage. It's all Forest's work to do, and they're not doing it at the moment. Nottingham Forest. That's the simple long and short of it. Ball in the air by Gibbs White. Aina brings it down. Kept it in play, but he tried to flick, and he's completely miscued it. There, Ola Aina. Throw into Chelsea. And Nuno Espirito Santo is going to go to the bench again. And it's going to be Jota Silva, I believe, is going to be coming on. As Aina wins it back for Forest. Alanga back to Yates. Now Alanga down the touchline. Wins a throw in for Nottingham Forest. Oh, that's poor from Forest there. Cheap giveaway. Malo Gusto intercepting. Chelsea up the field. There's not many with him. He's not in a hurry to find anybody as he turns it back to Reece James. Last 10 minutes or so to go here at the City ground. And we have a goal at Anfield to tell you about. The champions have equalised. Liverpool down to 10, but they're back level. Mo Salah is on for the record. A goal or an assist for Salah in the final few minutes, and he would have a Premier League record. Chelsea now trying to find a second to dead this game and end it completely. If they find a second goal, it's over. Gusto whips it back across, cleared away by Aina, and up in the air and cleared away as Gibbs White tries to get Forest forward, but again Chelsea doing just enough to shield that and deal with it. As we see again, what a ball, and back across, and Mo Salah getting it into the back of the net there for Liverpool. As Forest come forward down the right side, Alanga tussling with Colwell and Cucurella, and the ball stolen away from him, and Cucurella plays it forward into space for Cole Palmer. Not in a hurry to get forward, Palmer. And Milenkovic there shielding the ball, played by Palmer, and back to Matt Sells it goes, who kicks it long. Forest are running out of time massively here. As Murillo will see that out off Enzo Fernandez for a throw-in. And there's going to be that change for Nottingham Forest. And it's going to see Ola Aina replaced by Jota Silva for Nottingham Forest. So as I was saying about Mo Salah, so he scored now for Liverpool. He's level with a Premier League record for the most goal involvements in a single season, 47. He gets a goal or an assist now, Salah, and he will beat that record that was set twice previously. And he's trying his best here, Salah. He's brought it down. Salah trying to curl it right at Dean Henderson there. Liverpool trying to push for a winner later on there in the game that they will confirm, or well, they will lift the title at the end of. Right, so recap everything for the top five then for you. City 2-0 up. They're clear and dry. They're gone. Man United winning against Villa and Newcastle losing against Everton means Newcastle are just above Aston Villa in 5th on goal difference. That is what separates those two. If Forest can turn this around and win it, with those results staying as they are, then Forest would get top 5. If Chelsea stay as they are, they're guaranteed top 5. But it can all change in the final few minutes if anything happens here at the City Ground, which is the key game that could swap it all around again. Third goal for West Ham against Ipswich. They're 3-1 up now against Ipswich. It's 3-1 there. Arsenal have now taken the lead against Southampton. Once again, it's 2-1 to Arsenal in that one, and nothing else has changed. We'll give you a full roundup of all the scores and the league table when we finish all of our games. Certainly when we finish here at the City Ground anyway. As I'm being completely honest with you, I have a trophy lift to watch. And I want to get you all your information you need, and then get myself off and are ready to watch a trophy lift. As that through ball by Chelsea was nicely caught by Matt Sells, and they want to get forward quickly here, Forest. As Hudson-Odoi on the breakaway. Can't find anybody in red. He lays it off now to Gibbs White, who's square on with him. They need to get forward and towards the box and fast to Chelsea, or to Nottingham Forest, as Alanga was fouled there. Well, for Chelsea, they have their third for the least goals conceded this season. They have the third best defensive record in the Premier League, behind Liverpool and Arsenal. 43 goals conceded this season for Chelsea, so they certainly do have a solid defence. Nicely held by Elliot Anderson. Gibbs White with a fizz ball towards the box. The ball flicked on, cleared away by Tosin, as Wood was there, but he was in an offside position, so nothing comes of it. Well, they've lost 4 home games this season, Forest. Brentford, Everton, Newcastle and Fulham. 2 sides from West London have already come to the City Ground and won. There might be a third one here this afternoon. They haven't beaten Chelsea at home since June 1997, or January 1997. January 1997, a 2-0 win, and they've lost 2 of the last 3 at home against Chelsea of Nottingham Forest. And as I say, Chelsea unbeaten away to Forest since 1997. 2 wins and 1 draw from those 3 games since for Chelsea. And their away form has been bang average this season. 7 wins, 4 draws and 7 defeats away from home for Chelsea. 11th on away form this season. And they've lost 7 games away from home this campaign. Newcastle, Arsenal, Villa, Brighton, Man City, Ipswich and Liverpool. But they've lost 6 of their last 10 away from home, having lost just once in their previous 8. So they've certainly been worse away from home in the second half of the season, Chelsea, than they were in the first half on the road, which might give Forest some confidence late here. But they're running out of time, and precious time at that. A draw isn't enough. Only a win would be good enough for Forest. But they're given as much of a helping hand as they can by the teams around them. With Newcastle and Villa losing, neither one of those two want to keep that spot in the top 5. It would be Forest to steal if they can turn this around. Alanga rolls it in behind, again a bit awkwardly towards Gibbs White. And that's nicely defended by Reece James. Although, he got the last touch, Reece James. And that was good pressure by Gibbs White. The ball seemed like it was gone, but he pressured Reece James into making some sort of a touch. And that was spotted by the officials. And Forest have a corner. 5 minutes at Anfield added on. We've still another 3 minutes or so to go here before we find additional time. So Anthony Alanga to take this Forest corner. Right-footed. It's deep. Back post. It's headed back across. It's not cleared away by Chelsea. Furley. And the shot deflected. It's still alive in there somehow. They can't get it away, Chelsea. Wood gets it across. But the ball is too close to Robert Sanchez. There was a good 5 seconds there where Chelsea didn't get any contact on that ball. And Forest, all they had to do was find the net. They couldn't get a shot off cleanly. And they were all scrambling for it. Both sets of players, neither could find it. And ultimately the ball falls to the Chelsea keeper. There's another goal at Old Trafford. It's more confirmation. Man United have doubled their lead. It's Eriksson from the penalty spot. So Villa are now nailed on to not be getting Champions League, because they cannot get it with a defeat. A defeat would not be enough for Aston Villa, no matter what happens at Old Trafford. A draw would have been if they could have turned it around against Man United, because Newcastle are losing. They could have turned it around and got something. Palmer lays it off now. Here's Romeo Lavia. The effort over the bar, but there's a deflection. We'll get Chelsea a corner. Brighton are now 3-1 up away at Tottenham in that one. So as it stands, it will be Newcastle, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool all getting Champions League, as you were at the start of the day, although Chelsea and Newcastle have swapped places in the top 5, but they're all still in there. Villa and Forest, who started the day outside the top 5, look very likely now to be ending the day outside the top 5. The only way that would change is if Nottingham Forest can win this game. If they can't, and only draw or lose, then it would be for Newcastle and to stay in there. But if they draw Forest, they would get Europa League instead of Conference League, because Villa are losing. That's the way that would point out. But at the moment, they would stay in 7th as it stands, Forest. Sanchez hooks away. We'll see how long will be added on at the end of the 90 here at the City Ground. It's 8 minutes to be added on at the end. 8 minutes for Nottingham Forest to save their season, to claim Champions League. 2 goals would do it. With Newcastle losing, Villa losing, they need to win. The door is open, but they have to find a way through it. So far they haven't been able to. And all in their hands for us now. Bournemouth are now 2-0 up, by the way, against Leicester at the Vitality. So, as it stands, Bournemouth would be jumping up to 9th, with Brentford drawing and Fulham losing. Then, and Palace now drawing. Bournemouth would be jumping up to to 9th, their highest possible finish coming into the day. They started 11th, so Bournemouth would be in the top half, as would Brentford. But Brighton would be getting that all-important 8th. That could be a European place, but it won't be as it stands at the moment, because they would need Chelsea to finish outside the top 5 for that to be the case. 8th would need Chelsea to finish either 7th or 6th to be a European place, and they would need Newcastle to finish 7th for that also to be the case, but that looks very unlikely that would happen now, so it looks like 8th will not be a European place no matter what happens, but we'll see. Again, there's just no glimpse that Forest will score here today. It's all over at Wolves and Brentford. That's finished a draw, so Brighton will be 8th no matter what happens now, so they will finish 8th. That's confirmed. Liverpool are waiting on the final whistle at Anfield. 5 minutes are up there. It is over. The champions have finished their season at home with a draw against Crystal Palace. The Liverpool will claim the title very shortly and lift that trophy very soon. As the final whistles will be going around all the grounds. There's still less than 6 minutes to go here at the City Ground. Forest need to win to get top 5, but they're losing at the moment. Even a draw would be enough for Chelsea now, with Newcastle and Villa losing. A draw would be enough for Chelsea to stay in the top 5. A defeat wouldn't be enough, because Newcastle are not losing by more than enough. As Colwell with an awkward clearance there, it's gone behind for a corner. One more chance maybe for Forest to get a leveller. They need to find a leveller before they can try and find a winner. Chelsea's defence has been strong all day, but can they hold on for a couple of minutes? Hudson-Odoi with a chip ball across, bouncing around and hooked away as far as they can get it for Chelsea there. As Gibbs-White retrieves for Forest and recycles it. Remember, a draw for Forest would jump them up a place into 6th. So that could still be hope for Nottingham Forest to get Europa League football. Ball into the box. Chris Wood takes it down. Wood! Oh my goodness me, he's done it again. He's skied the ball for the 3rd time today. Oh my goodness me. He's onside, Chris Wood, and what a chance. He missed the sitter in the first half. He's missed an absolute corker in the second. The man who couldn't stop scoring for Forest all season has had 2 gilt-edged chances today, and he has absolutely skied them both. That is the fine margins. That is the fine margins. If those 2 shots sort of find the back of the net, Forest would be heading for Champions League nights here at the City Ground. That's the difference. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Liverpool awaiting their chance for the title at Anfield, but 3 minutes or so to go here. It is going to need to be the best 3 minutes of Forest's season, if not better, for them to have any chance. Now, they have a free kick in their own half. Believe me, I'll be charging away. At full time at Bournemouth, full time at Ipswich, at full time at Southampton, full time at Tottenham as well. So still alive in those key games in the European places. They're the 4 games that remain in action. Yates trying to get the cross in. It's not cleared away. It's whipped back in. Cleared away by Tosin. But kept alive for Forest down this right side with a throw. This is what it's going to come down to. They get a goal now, you never know, but it's now or never. Jota Silva with this long throw chance. Into the box it goes. And into the hands of Robert Sanchez it goes. And I think that's it. Because Forest have not been good enough today. Anywhere near good enough in front of goal. And they've only got themselves to blame. They've had gilt-edged chances, they've had opportunities, but they haven't taken them. And that's the difference. That's the difference on the big day. Long kick by Sanchez. He will reach his opposite there in Matt Sells. Actually gone out for a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. Less than 2 minutes of the season remains for these two. It's over. Man City have got the Champions League with a win over Fulham. So Man City are there. Everton have beaten Newcastle United. Newcastle falling at the final hurdle, but they will get over the line because Aston Villa are losing as well and Forest are losing. So Newcastle losing doesn't really matter to Eddie Howe and his team because they've still got Champions League. Unless Aston Villa can score 2 goals in additional time there, that will be the only way that would change. But there's only a minute or so to go there. That's as unlikely as can be. So City are there. Newcastle are all but there. But Forest want to have a chance at an equaliser here. They might have a chance. Oh, it's cleared from the box. What a challenge in the Chelsea box last minute here. Remember, a draw for Forest would get them 6th. That's still in a chance if they can get an equaliser. Gibbs White, with a cross. Too high, too deep, too long. Goal kick. Incredible from Chelsea today. Congratulations. Full credit to Chelsea. They've been absolutely excellent defensively today. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank each and every one of you who's been joining us on the final day. So it's over everywhere else but at Old Trafford and here at the City grounds. It's only a matter of time before it is over between these two sides. 8 minutes is up. How long will the referee add on to that? I wouldn't say too much. Chelsea know they're going to be there. There's nothing that can dethrone them now of the top 5. There it is! Enzo Maresca's done it! Chelsea qualify for the Champions League at the expense of Nottingham Forest, who had it all in their favour going into the final 20 minutes for results elsewhere, but they couldn't get their own job done, and that's what falters them. Chelsea win on the road for only the 2nd time in the last 10. Incredible for them. Wonderful for Chelsea. They're Champions League, as are Newcastle, as are City, and as are already confirmed Liverpool and Arsenal. Congratulations to Chelsea. Well done to them. For Forest, it's Conference League football. For Villa, it's Europa League. And that is how it shakes out on the final day. Final score from the City ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1. Final scores from around the grounds then quickly. Bournemouth 2, Leicester 0, Fulham 0, Man City 2, Ipswich 1, West Ham 3, Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 1. It finished there. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1, Southampton 1, Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1, Brighton 4, and Wolves 1, Brentford 1. To the table then to show you what happens. Liverpool 1st, Arsenal 2nd, City 3rd, Chelsea 4th. Newcastle hang on in there in 5th on goal difference, and 6th place is Villa, and 7th is Nottingham Forest. Brighton get 8th, Bournemouth get 9th, and 10th is made up by Brentford. Into the bottom half, quickly. Fulham in 11th. Crystal Palace to make it 12th. Everton in 13th. West Ham 14th. Man United 15th in the end. Wolves 16th. And 17th is Tottenham's, as Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton, the bottom 3, they have been relegated. So, the big stories of this final day are that Newcastle, Chelsea, Manchester City all get the final 3 places in the Champions League next season at the expense of Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, who both lost their respective games. That knew that wasn't enough. Newcastle made it the hard way. They lost at home as well, but they got over the line via goal difference. Incredible. That's how it's finished. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, the 2025-26 season starts in 83 days' time. That's the 16th of August, and you can join us for the fixture release on the 18th of June. That's it from us. We'll be back for the Champions League final next Saturday, but for the rest of your Sunday, have a great day, and we'll see you again in August for the new Premier League season. Thanks for your company, for joining us this season. Great to have you with us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.